Welcome back to the Tribal Lines podcast. I'm your host, Stephen Lupo, here with my guest host who's subbing in as co-host for Pat Johnson, Alex Rubino. How's it going, brother?
I am so happy to be back here. Thank you guys so much for having me. And hey, I may not be an upgrade from Pat in a lot of ways, but I'm a Yankees fan, so I think we get the baseball upgrade at least, if nothing
Uh-huh,
else.
absolutely, yeah. Get the Phillies fan out of here, bring in
Thank
the two
God.
Yankees fans. I love it.
There you go. And I've got the buff.
There we go. Nice. Is that the Survivor 46 merge buff?
It is the brand new buff. I literally just opened it.
Wow.
So
Okay,
you
that's
guys are
awesome.
getting the first time I'm wearing it.
Okay, well,
So
I am so honored to be the first time you're showing it off.
yes, I'm honored
Um,
to be here.
I love the background.
Thank you. Thank you. I found it on the old Google machine about a minute before we started talking. So
Nice, nice.
nice.
All right,
Well, what an
cool.
episode we got.
Yeah, it was a great episode, probably one of the best of the new era, to be honest. The amount of strategy talk was wild. I think there was probably like an hour of strategy talk for the two groups combined, and it was just so much fun to watch. There was so many different plans happening. We got to see a lot of different conversations that happened throughout the strategy time. We had a hilarious immunity challenge, probably my favorite one to watch. I was cracking up the entire time, and I can't wait to talk about that. But yeah, definitely one of my favorite episodes. What about you?
I'm very pleasantly surprised. I can't lie. This season, with it being like it started off pretty good. I thought episode one was fun. We then went into three episodes of Banu, which nice guy. Glad he was on the show. Got a little stale, and it started to pick up a little bit. And this episode, even though I'm getting sick of the same twist again and again, this worked out well. The divisions worked out well, and I thought we really got a killer of an episode. We got a mix of a lot of good strategy, maybe some not so good strategy. Obviously, the humor, entertainment value, a little bit of drama. So we got it all.
Yeah, definitely. And yeah, you're right. The I definitely am not a fan of this twist. I mean, I'm not the I'm not like opposed necessarily to splitting the tribes up, but like at this final 12, like right before the jury, having one person not make jury and having one person make the jury just based on how the best person on your in your group performed, like I think that's so stupid. I think that's the
Yeah.
dumbest twist ever. I think they should have done something where it's like at final 11 when the jury starts or something, have it like split up 6 and 5 or something like that,
I mean,
or
what they've
have it
done,
be like 5 and 5. One person gets a gray rock and they get to decide which group they want to join. That could be
yeah,
an interesting twist.
that's basically what they did. I feel like when with this twist started what Ghost Island, so it's like they did it at 10 when you go we would go from 10 to 8. We did that a few times. They got rid of it and then they brought it back. And I think the last year it had to have been one production maybe where someone's like, why do we do the twist earlier? And Jeff's like, yes, this makes it even more dangerous, more exciting, more painful. And I'm like, and I don't hate it. I don't hate that they're putting in the spot with the whole jury thing. It just I would rather you do it later, but I'm also like, can we take a season off? It's
Yeah,
been the last six
exactly.
seasons. We're doing it again and again and again. Um,
I
like
think
it, but
having it having a double elimination in the pre-merge rather than the merge, I think would be better. I
so
think
what
having
you're
like two
saying,
tribes go to tribal council instead
what you're
of
saying.
having this.
Oh, I was almost gonna say when you said two, I'm like, do you want to bring back the bottle twist
Oh,
in Cook
absolutely
Islands?
not. Fuck that.
That was a time, but yeah, we've done it. But one, two, this is the eighth time or sorry, the seventh time they've done this twist in this iteration. I just checked. Thank you,
Hmm.
Survivor Wiki. It's like Ghost Island, Iowa, and they didn't do it in 44, which I honestly forgot about. Like it seems so formulaic,
They
and then they
kind
did.
of did in 44, but not really. Like they split the two into two tribes at final 11, but
But
then
they,
only one of them went to tribal council,
yeah.
which was interesting. I don't know why. I mean, I guess it's okay because then only one person is getting voted out from this twist instead of two people getting screwed over from this twist. But I don't know. I think that it was definitely an interesting iteration of it, but eh,
Yeah.
yeah.
I'm I listen, we got the best version of it I think we've ever had.
Hmm.
but I am at a point where I'm like, we can take a break.
Yeah,
But will they take a
exactly.
break? Of course not. No, they'll take a break on the good things like the auction.
hmm I
We've had
think
one season. We need a break.
I think what could make that twist a lot better is having a tribe swap earlier in the game so that when we get to this point where the tribes are split up, it's not just based on tribal lines, it's based on um like relationships because you might be on an original tribe with someone, but then you also have an alliance with someone from your tribe swapped tribe, and now you have to manage so many of those relationships in a smaller group. I think that could make it a little more interesting. Luckily, Nami was okay turning on themselves, so it wasn't just Nami taking out Charlie and making it easy. And then even though the other side was Yanu with the majority and they can kind of choose, it did still make it interesting because all three people were kind of like on the chopping block, so you didn't know who it was. It wasn't just like one person was definitely going to go home.
Yeah, this theoretically could have been one of the most boring episodes we've ever had, but thank God this cast is here to play, even if it's not
Mm-hmm.
playing great. They're here to play. But let me push back on one thing you said there about the reason everyone's on tribal lines is because they didn't have a swap. I think that is part of the reason. I don't get me wrong, it is. But when you have one tribe lose and lose and lose, and the other tribe two have had to do next to nothing, and they're still kind of well, at least one of them was still kumbaya. They don't know anything else. If if you actually have a season where all three tribes, even if you don't swap, I'm a proponent of a swap, but even if you don't, where two or three of the tribes are going to tribal and having to actually like make decisions, test relationships, all those things, then I think this vote can be really interesting. And I think it's almost what they're going for with the journeys, but like that's what, maybe a couple hours versus for some of these people, oh yeah, you've lived with them for 11 days and you've had to do nothing. You
Yeah,
literally hung out,
exactly.
gone to challenges, came back victorious, and repeated the cycle over and over and over again. Like, yeah, it's so that's where I think the issue is.
Yeah, I can
But
see
does
that
Survivor
too.
seem to care? Not really. But
I feel like you need to have people on the bottom going into the merge who's okay with not sticking with their original tribe because they know they're on the bottom
yeah,
for it to not necessarily be tribal lines because like you can be on the bottom but you just don't know it and you feel like you have close allies but you actually don't and then that could still make you want to stick with your tribe because that's all you know even if it's like let's say because I think it was like 5 votes the pre-merge so if
yeah.
one tribe goes only once and then the other two go twice, that's still, you know, let's say the for the tribes of four, they're probably really tight, those four people from the tribe. So I don't know. I feel like even if you go
The
multiple times, you kind of know who you can trust, and most of the people you can trust are probably on that tribe with you.
the the other thing I will add to that is doing this twist as early as they are to me is another reason why they're still playing tribal lines. Like if you're doing it at 10 and
Very
8,
true.
they've
Yep.
had a couple like they some of these people literally this was their first time they were the first time they were vulnerable. Some of
Yeah.
the, like Hunter, second time he's ever voting, first time he's ever on the chopping block.
Yeah.
And I think this twist works
First
when
time
you
voting,
have
actually,
oh yeah. Dude, I forgot.
because
But
he
even
didn't
wants to
even
vote.
have a vote that first time.
Yes.
First time voting, first time
First time,
vulnerable.
second time at a tribal, first time voting. Yes, thank
hmm
you.
hmm
Um, it just one is if you're gonna do it at 10 and 8. Maybe once I'd be okay trying it at 8 and 6, like going from 8 to 6. But spread it out more. Surprise them. Like if I am as a and I feel like we've said for years as fans, especially the super fans, like you don't like kind of keep it consistent. You don't need to do all these crazy twists. But now they're doing the crazy twists in the same spot. So that's not even like the cool factor of the twist sometimes like, okay, it surprises them. It makes them play a little different. They're not even doing it. They know it's coming. And if I'm playing, it's like, all right, I know this is happening at either 12 or 10.
Mhm.
Almost certainly. I can predict that. I can predict if we're started 3 times, if we're going to swap at all, it's maybe at 15. Maybe they'll throw us a curveball at 14. I know we're doing Mergatory, and we're just gonna keep going the same formula. At 5, they'll go to a different beach. At 4, we'll have fire. At 3, we'll have a vote. Like,
Mhm.
mix it up.
So
Mix it up a little.
So I have a question about twists for you. So
Yes.
I host my own Survivor mini org on Zoom.
Yep.
And so I have created many different twists that I think would be cool to see on Survivor and use them in
Ooh.
my games. So I want to see what you think of this twist. At the final 10,
Okay.
instead of splitting it up two groups of five, everyone votes together, all 10, but two people are going home and there's two urns. And you have to strategize, do you want to put your vote in urn 1 or urn 2? And one person gets voted out of each urn.
Hmm.
What do
Are
you think
you
about that?
telling the players beforehand this is how it's going to work?
Yeah,
Or do you
like
tell them
before
like
the
at
immunity
tribal?
challenge.
Okay. I like that. I would
Because
like
it
to
adds like
try
an
that.
extra element because like you want to
Yeah.
make sure that you have enough votes in each urn to save yourself. So you're
Oh,
not only
100%.
so you're playing like two games at once
The
in the
the
same round, but everybody's voting together. So
the only thing like it might I wonder how tough it is to follow on TV. Like as
yes,
somebody who will
yes,
follow
you're
it and
right.
will like write it out and will think a lot about it, I'd be down to try it.
I think it would be a great
And
twist, but yeah, definitely difficult to maybe show on TV, especially to someone who's not super familiar with Survivor. But
I
I
I
think it would
I
be
think
good.
they can do it once. Like yeah,
Yeah,
it'd be one of those where it's like if this is your first ever episode of Survivor, I'm sorry, but I do think it'd be cool. And this is coming from somebody who notoriously hates most every twist.
yeah.
So you've done something good. You
Okay.
really
All right.
have.
Awesome. Awesome.
That
I'm
is a
glad. I'm
great
glad.
twist. If I'm saying, yeah, I think I'd want to try it.
All right, cool. So
Yeah.
before we
Wow, look at you.
officially
Take
dive
Jeff's
into
job
this
for me.
episode, we have trivia to get to. So
Ooh.
right now this is the recap for episode 7. So
Episode several.
episode several, yes, yes, Jelinski. Oh, I loved that they brought Jelinski back into this. That was
What a
so
guy.
funny. What a legend. Um,
I hope to be a legend if I get to play a legend
uh-huh.
like him if I ever play.
Same,
Because I ain't
same.
doing well, but
Um, so yeah, so for the episodes 1 through 6, you were able to submit your answers to the trivia questions, and if you did, that's fantastic. If you answered from 1 through 6, then you will be entered on a wheel, and we will determine who will win, and you will win max of $50 of either a cameo, Survivor clothing, Survivor immunity challenge, or Survivor buff. So right now, if you are watching this and you still haven't submitted your answer to episode 6, it's due by Wednesday at 8 p.m. before episode 8 airs, um, 8 p.m. Eastern time. And so, yeah, so get that in. But here we're starting with the first question of the episode 7 to 12 run. And if you answer correctly for any of them, episode 7 through 12, you'll be entered into another wheel to possibly win the same exact prizes of your choice, max $50 of a cameo, Survivor clothing, Survivor immunity challenge, or Survivor buff. All right,
come on,
so
take Pat and Steven's money, people. Come on.
yeah, exactly.
Take
Take
their
our
money.
money. Take our money. It's free money. Um,
Exactly.
okay, so because you are a guest host, we're going to let you select the page number. So we have
Oh.
a Survivor trivia book here that I got for Christmas, and we're going to pick from there. So we got pages 1 through 204. So what page
Well,
number would you like?
in honor of our mutual beloved New York Yankees, give me the Captain 99.
Okay. All right, Judge.
There you go.
Here we go. 99.
Steven, we gotta get to a game sometime.
We do, yeah, honestly. Okay. All right, this is a good question.
Is it?
Um,
All right.
yeah. Okay. Ready? In Survivor Worlds Apart, how were the tribes determined initially? Okay, so you could either say how they were determined, or you could say the different tribe names. Um, and yeah, submit that answer. The question again is in Survivor Worlds Apart, how were the tribes determined initially? Submit that, DM us at tribal_lines_pod on Instagram. And if you get it right, you'll get a spot on our wheel to possibly win a cool Survivor prize.
Good luck. Hope you guys get it. And thanks for reminding me of what an awful season that was.
Well, really? You don't like it? I honestly, I liked that season.
No, 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 not I don't like it. I hate it.
Oh, wow.
It
Okay.
was a slog to get through. It is near the bottom of my list. It is. Listen, it's not Thailand or Island of the Idols, but oh yeah, I did not have I didn't have any fun with it. Like I could think of a couple moments where I'm like, that was cool. Like the tribal where Mike pulls out the idol and it's like Shireen's voting for oh god, what's his face? Tyler. The rest of you figure it out. That was fun. It's like that was fun. I like Tyler. I like Mama C. Holloway's kind of cool. Shireen's okay. The rest of them,
Yeah, I could see where like I
eh,
guess it's a lower tier season for me too. I liked Mike's like
yeah,
individual immunity run.
fair.
Like he, other than the one time where he almost tried to get an advantage by screwing people over with the loved one letters, that I didn't like from him. But other than that, I feel like he was someone the audience members were constantly wanting to root for,
Yeah,
especially when his mom came to visit and tried to help him with the immunity challenge, and she was nervous that she screwed him and wasn't like didn't give him that much of an advantage, but he ended up winning that challenge. It was like it was fun to get to root for him. I liked Mama C. Will was just there.
no, no, I
Rodney, I
wish
didn't
Will
really
was
like
just there.
Rodney that much, but I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, and that this isn't even counting the fact that we've now learned that Rodney and Joe Anglim are real pieces of you know what.
Oh,
Um,
really?
Yeah. Google it if you want. They're both not great, to put it
I feel like a
mildly.
lot of people from that season ended up coming out like not great.
But those two are like especially like oy,
Who is the guy who was like had the white beard?
Max Dawson?
No.
The white they and you say beard.
It was the guy who had the extra vote.
Oh, Dan Foley?
Dan. Yeah, don't people hate Dan?
Apparently, yeah, they do, but I've heard he's actually a good guy in real life.
Really? I heard the
Someone like I
opposite.
think someone said they met him at one of my friends said they met him at an airport or something and said he's actually a good guy. But
Okay.
neither here nor there. Mama C playing the idol was fun, but yeah, enough about Worlds Apart. Let's talk about a season that started off not as bad, but poorly, but has definitely picked up a lot. And is much better than Worlds Apart, which is this season.
Yeah, I've just like it's good that we had a little Banu in the beginning, but I'm so happy that he's off our screens and we can now really watch a bunch of great game players play.
Yeah.
I think we have
Are there a lot of great ones though?
I
Or are
think
there a lot of people
left
playing hard?
I think left we have um 8 people either playing hard or are threats or good game players.
Mhm.
We have Venus, who is very messy, which is
Yeah.
fun to watch, but also
Oh, I
terrible
agree.
at the game.
Yeah.
And then we have Liz, who's just hanging out.
Yeah. Here's the thing. I'm looking at this cast again, and now we are down to what, 10? Right, 1, 2, 3, I
Yeah,
can count.
10, final 10.
I legitimately like all of them. At least, and I can at least say, or at least I want to say like, I mean, they're at least all bringing something to the table.
Hmm.
Like if I go this way, but Ben is hilarious. I absolutely love him. Charlie seems like a sweetheart. Hunter's cool. I need to see a bit more from Hunter, but he's cool. Kenzie obviously is awesome. Liz is a wackadoo. Maybe doesn't know what's going on, but
Liz is growing on me. Like even though I don't
yeah,
think she'll be able to win the game, like her like one confessional an episode is always like funny. Not
Liz
because
feels
like she's like actually making people laugh from what
yeah.
she's saying, but just the fact that she's just so like chill about everything is just
She,
hilarious.
she's one of the three that I say are living in their own world, which I think doesn't make you it makes you a pretty bad player, but it makes you really entertaining. Her,
Hmm.
Q, and Venus. I think all three of them stink at this game. They are bad. They are messy as hell, but boy, are they showing it.
Well, see, here's the thing.
but it's
I
fun.
I do think, and I have ever since episode one, I said that Q had a 0.0% chance of winning this game. You can still be a very smart survivor player and have no shot at winning, and I think that's Q. I think he's probably one of the best strategic thinkers
That's exactly what I would say.
that I have seen in a very, very long time. Um, but and I think he's good at making relationships with people as well in terms of that part of the social game. But when discussing votes with people, he is so bad at that social game part. And that is a very important part because you don't want
Oh,
your allies to be annoyed at you and you don't want to be telling them what to do. Um, so like you his social game, his strategic game is good. His social game gets him the allies, but will the rest of his game push those allies away? And I think it will.
Q reminds me a lot if you watch Big Brother, or anyone watches Big Brother, Dave on Rogers a little bit. Like knows almost exactly what to do every time. And you're like, oh, that is a great idea. But executing it, he's like, he knows like his mind is, all right, who do I need to go next? And then it can plan, this person goes next, and this one, and this one, this one. I can get to the end. Q doesn't realize is A, how to do it, and B, I also think he is that player where it's like he sees the one like the optimal path and can't deviate from it.
Hmm.
There is no I will lose the battle to win the war. There is no okay, if I give in on this and let this person go if I say I want like if he wanted who it was Ben or Tim, it's like what if we sent like obviously he eventually relents, but what if he doesn't? And what if he's like how if he's really like, okay, they want Ben to go, let me just let's let Ben go. And can he pivot? I don't think he realizes he's like, I have my way, this is how it has to go, and then I can win. And if I just get if I can check all the boxes off of this one and this one and this one, then I'm good. Instead
Hmm.
of realizing, oh, it's about how I get them out.
Yeah. I also
Because you
think
still need allies at the end.
I feel like even though Tim was, and we'll talk about this more later too, but even though that Tim was trying to target Hunter for being a big physical threat, and Q thinks he's also a physical threat, and he's in part of that six, and then he's also trying to play the Sega game. So Q doesn't really know where his loyalties truly lie, but at the same time, you are not in any sort of alliance with Ben, and Tiffany wants Ben to go. So why not give in? Why be so like 100% set on Tim when as of right now, like Ben is a great social player who has not committed to an alliance with you. Tim is not the best social player who has committed an alliance to you. So he's going to be a target probably in the next few votes. And he's someone who, I mean, seems like he'd go after a Hunter before Q. And he'd probably go after the other Nami members because he wants to get a Nami out, but he also wants to stay loyal. So if you make it to the final 10 with all of your six from the journey and whatever Sega members remain, which will be Charlie and Maria, there's still Venus to target for Tim. There's still Liz to target. And there's still Soda to target if she was still in the game. So I thought Q's best move would have been to vote out Ben. I think Tiffany's best move was to vote out Ben. Kenzie's best move was to vote out Tim. And it seemed like Kenzie was the one who cared the least in the strategy about like expressing what she wanted, but she seemed to get exactly what was best for her game. So I think that was a great job by her.
This is one where I'm so thankful we have the 90 minutes. I wanted more. This is where I want the 2 hour episode because I feel like there's a lot we didn't see with this little group. And I'm really because I think Tim almost played himself out of the game
He did.
with oh, he played this so poorly.
He played it
I'm
so
really
bad.
curious. I'm really curious what Ben did because I feel like Ben had to have done something to have kept himself in the game. And B, I also think Kenzie definitely cared more.
Mhm.
Maybe it was part of the personal thing, but I'm willing
I
to
think
bet
that was it. I think
she
it
had her
was Ben's
little
relationship with Kenzie. and just Ben being a nice person to everyone, and Tim. I just feel like Tim's social game probably wasn't that good. I think all Tim had
Probably.
what would yeah,
Probably.
definitely like
Yeah.
we don't know what's going on like behind the scenes necessarily, but from what we've seen in the episodes, it seems like he had an awful social game because nobody cared enough about keeping him unless they had made a deal with them to be in an alliance. So if you're in the Journey 6, you're keeping you're keeping Tim in because of the Journey 6. If you're in Sega, you're keeping Tim in because of Sega. But it didn't seem like anyone was truly like, oh, like he's my number one, like I need to protect him, like we need to protect him. It seemed like it was just like we need to protect him because he's in this alliance type deal.
Yeah. I will say, and if I'm looking at this move from each person's perspective, for Q, I think it's clear. Get at this point, like you've almost burned the bridge. But I'm really curious, and like obviously, I think for Kenzie, it's like yeah, keep Ben in the game. Ben's a kind of your ally. I think that like when we saw her and Tiffany having that discussion of like, oh, Q is just trying to run this shit. One, he made the two of them closer together, and I think this was their little we're in charge, not him. Let's put ourselves in the better position. Because I frankly think for them, Ben is closer would be closer to working with them. For Q, I think Q has a better shot. Maybe before he even blew this up, but I think Q would still be closer to Tim than he would be Ben. So I think
I
if
think
Tiff
Q would
and
have to
Kenzie,
I think Q would have to vote out Tim in one of the next few rounds if he did keep Tim, though.
yes,
So I guess I understand taking him out now, but
yeah, but I do think this is a big big win for Tiffany and Kenzie because especially Kenzie because not only are you keeping Ben in the game, you are taking out his number one essentially, which normally you say okay that might not work, but I do think Ben is the kind of player where it's like, yeah, he likes Charlie and Maria, and I think still has a relationship with them. But I think there's a chance, and I would like to see it. Three of them come, they pull in Kenzie, Kenzie pulls in Tiffany, and maybe that five, because now we're down to 10. That five,
hmm,
and
it could be
could
interesting.
maybe work something together. I don't know, because
Honestly, that
then you
is
could be a 5, 4, and 1.
I didn't think of that as like an alliance that they could like put together, but
I would like to see it. I don't know if it's possible.
that is something I do think could happen. I do see uh at least out of these four people, I think three of them will probably be the one of the next four to go. I think Ben, Q, Tevin, and Hunter. I think three of them will go in the next four votes. That's my guess.
Ben Ben cute. Hmm.
Because I think Ben being a social threat, he might get targeted because of that. Q is definitely gonna. I don't think Q makes it past the final eight. I think the way he speaks to people about the votes will get him in trouble a lot sooner than people might think. I think he's going home either final 10 or final 9 personally. Um,
Hmm.
but yeah, I don't see him making it very far. I can totally see Hunter and Tevin getting targeted because they're a tight duo, and Hunter is a strong physical competitor, and Tevin, I think, is going to be very upset that Venus took credit for the move, and he's going to, when he gets back to camp, tell everyone how it was his move, and then that's going to put a target on his
Is
back. It's kind of going to be like an Emily Flippin situation where like she just couldn't help herself but say it was her move, and then she gets voted out.
mm-mm.
So I think Tevin is in trouble, and then maybe not next vote, but like I can see final 9, final 8, final 7, Tevin for sure being
Whoa.
a target, or the votes getting split between Hunter and Tevin maybe, and then Hunter plays his idol, Tevin goes home. I could see that too.
Where do you put Venus in this equation then?
Venus is my zero vote finalist.
Okay. I was gonna ask, I was like, who do you have in that spot? And I could very much see it.
Mm-hmm.
Thinking, but here's my thing. I'm looking at right now who I'd maybe say is playing like the best game. Like I maybe I what I'm curious who you think. The three people that come to my mind are Maria, Tiffany, and Kenzie. And I think
Yep.
Maria, if and I probably would say Maria's maybe playing the best game. But if Maria making the game, and sure, she would probably acknowledge it's smart to drag base. The two of them still feel like oil and water. Like I don't know how long that would work, how long that would last. A- And I mean, I don't.
Who do
We
you
could
think is
see
oil and water?
Maria and Venus.
Okay.
I just think it's like we saw a little bit here in this episode with the whole like, oh, you're coming at me. No, I'm not coming at you, back and forth. And it's like, it's not going to get better. I don't see that relationship getting better. So I think Maria might use her, see if she can keep Venus in to a point, but also is not gonna be like, I need her at the end of the game.
I think
So
that Venus is going to be used as her own mastermind to get certain things done. So I think groups of people are going to have a plan set in mind, and Venus is going to, without, like, let's say Maria wants to get out Hunter, for example,
yep.
and Maria is talking to Venus. Maria doesn't need to say that she wants Hunter out, but let's say Venus says like, "Hey Maria, like Hunter's a big threat. We should get Hunter out." And then Maria's like, "Oh yeah, perfect. Like let's do it." And then now Maria knows she has an extra number, but she was already planning that move anyway. That's what I think is going to happen a lot with Venus. I don't think people are going to include her in an alliance. I think she's just going to be an extra number in a vote that she thinks is benefiting her game, but really it's benefiting the other people's games. I think she's going to make the final three. I think she's going to think she was like the greatest Survivor player in the
Oh,
history of the game, and the jury is going to shit all over her and say like, no, like those were all our moves. Like we just made you think they were your moves. Um, and I think that's because I also see a lot on Twitter of like her messaging a lot of different tweets, like and saying how like she didn't really love her cast, that there was like she was like misunderstood a lot, and I feel like that's all because she probably didn't have time in Ponderosa to get to talk with other people and realize how not part of the game she really was. That's why I think she's a zero vote finalist.
I wish I could disagree with you there. I don't know if she goes out. She's that. I do think she has a bit of length left in her game. Maybe she's like final four, like loses at fire or something. But I'm with you. She
I feel
definitely
like
doesn't
she
win this
would
game.
get taken to the end if it was a Final Four situation.
She very well could be, but I also think it could be the scenario. I don't know. She, I feel like they're maybe she wins immunity and tries to like do it herself. Oh, couldn't that?
Oh
That'd
God.
be but I definitely think I agree with you there in that like there is something to her cast not really caring for her because like maybe it's just me, but seeing all like a lot of them hanging out and then she's on her doing her own thing, I'm like,
Yeah, that, and also, I mean, you could tell that on the island. Like, I feel like she's probably a great person in real life, but it seems like she has her clique, and then probably everyone else hates her. Like, she seems like someone that can easily irritate people, and a lot of people not want to be her friend. It's happened on the island. I thought it was just, oh, her Nami people aren't really getting along with her. And
maybe
she'll
it's
be a great when she gets to the merge. But then when she got to the merge, every other tribe mate of all the other tribes were saying, I don't trust Venus. Like it was every single person on the island doesn't trust her. And
yeah.
that makes me think not like how do you know that you can't trust somebody just from like meeting them in the beginning? Like you kind of,
You,
if you can realize you can't trust someone that early, it's not because you don't trust them. It's probably because you don't think you can work with them because they're not gelling with you.
it, she to me is one of those like kind of amazing players in that she's threatening yet completely unlikable. Nobody really likes her, but they all admit she's a threat. Which
I
I'm
don't
like,
think they
how are
think
you?
she's a threat. I
I think a
think
little bit.
they think
They've
that she is not to be trusted.
well when I say that, but like a threat in that she is like still coming up with like ideas, and you really from that you can't trust her. But it'd be like, oh, if she like come says the right thing to the right person, maybe she has a shot.
Right, because she's
I don't know.
not a threat to win, she's a threat to other people's games because she's unpredictable.
She's unpredictable, but and she has a little bit of strategy to her. So yeah, she's that like perfect combo. And I am curious. Yeah,
Mhm.
hmm.
Like
Like she
she
could be
has the
a
right
0 finalist.
ideas in terms of like big moves that she can make, but she's making them at the wrong times and she's bringing them up in the wrong ways.
Great. By the way, I've got a great final three. Give me her, give me Liz, and give me Q. That is train wreck chaos final three
Oh
that
my
no one has ever
God.
seen before.
That would be hilarious.
But let me ask you this though, since you mentioned Venus in the final three as a goat, who who else is there and who's winning in your eyes?
Okay, so my here's my prediction at the final 10. Will it probably not happen? Yeah, it probably won't happen. I'm
Of
not the
course,
best
whatever,
at
right?
predicting, but let's see. Let's give it a go. I think Charlie, even though he seems to so far have been edited in a way that he seems like he's in a power position, a lot of votes. And it shows Maria's close alliance with Charlie and everything. But I just really think that he seems more and more to me like a second place finisher
Hmm.
who won't get as much respect as he probably deserves in the end. I think people are going to think that he wasn't the strategic mastermind behind all everything. He was just there. I think they're editing Charlie like he's this big strategic mastermind, but I think he's probably seen by his tribe mates as more of a Liz type player, where just kind of like not like playing the game, but like kind of just like there as a vote. And like he has the right alliances to get him to the end, but that's about it. Um,
Hmm.
I think that's how he'll be seen by the jury because he'll be next to someone who everyone can for sure understand is a great game player. I think out of Kenzie and Tiffany, I think it's going to be Tiffany. I think Tiffany is going to win this
Ooh.
season. Tim was my preseason winner pick, and I didn't want to do
Oh
him wrong by
God.
switching. I didn't want to do him wrong by switching, even though I knew he was not going to win after like a
You did
couple
wrong by
episodes.
picking him.
I didn't do wrong. I love Tim.
Hey, hey.
Tim is not a great player, but he was like I didn't pick him because I thought he was going to be a strategic great player. I picked him because I just wanted to see him win mainly.
Okay. All
But
right. All right. All right. Hey, I mean, we don't need to talk about my winner pick, who is still in the game, but is debatably a worse pick than yours.
oh my God.
But I've abandoned my winner pick completely, and I picked Venus preseason.
Oh, you picked Venus preseason. Oh my God.
Oh, that was a that. I mean, granted, I didn't like I said to you beforehand. I've not been as into the season. Like I didn't do really much of any preseason research, which is like normal for me. I will normally go crazy. I'll usually like listen to a bunch of podcasts before the season. During the season, I'll be doing my own pass. I'm not doing any of that. I'm really like watching
Same thing, same thing. I
I'm
usually
watching
do
the
so much, and
episode.
this time I didn't.
Yeah, like the only thing I'm even doing outside of the show is talking to you, which thank you again for having me.
Of course.
Um, but yeah, no, I picked Venus. I was like, oh, she said she'll play like Parvati. Okay, the Canadians are nice and friendly and all that stuff, and she ain't like the other Canadians I've met. Let me tell you that one. I bet she's great in real life. She does not remind me of all the other Canadians that we've had on Survivor and the ones I've met in real life, who all seem abundantly friendly. But why generalize an entire nation?
Hmm.
But yeah, no, oof. My pick right now would be Maria. Actually,
I don't think Maria's making it to the end. I
that's
think
fair.
she's the mom who everyone is gonna want to target. She's gonna be targeted like Julie. She's gonna be targeted not at all until like final six, and then they're gonna realize, oh my God, we have a mother playing a great game who's almost at the end. Let's get her out. That I think she
Um,
goes final six, final
I'm
five.
I could totally see that. Do not get me wrong. I could totally see that. But for some reason, maybe I'm just maybe this is the year. This is the
Maybe.
year she breaks through. She wins a couple of immunities at the end. I think if 'cause to me it's almost a if Charlie's at the end of the game, I almost see her with it. Like if the two of them really take this, and then maybe he can't get her out at the end. Maybe she makes fire. I don't know.
Hmm.
I maybe I think it'd be fun too, but like her, my second would be Kenzie, my third would be Tiffany in terms of like who I think is winning.
Okay. I would
But
say my first is Tiffany, my second is Kenzie, and my third, I think if
Charlie,
if he can if he can somehow, I don't know how he can do it, but I think it's a there's a chance he could. My third would be Hunter.
okay,
I think
yeah,
if he actually doesn't do that great in the immunity challenges, and maybe people think of him as not really a strategic player and more so just somebody there, I think he could slide further than um, people may think. Um, and then I think other people will present themselves as threats and like screw up their own games. I think Hunter is not going to be someone to screw up his game. The only way I think he goes out of the game is if people just make an assumption that he's a threat. I don't think he's actually going to like do anything to make people want to vote him out other than just being Hunter and being someone who did great in the pre-merge challenges. Um, but I can see Tevin causing himself to become a threat and get targeted. I can see Q from the way he talks to people causing himself to become a threat and a
he was
target.
already done it.
And then he's already done it, yeah. And I can I can see Maria doing it and becoming a target. I can see Ben becoming a target. So there's a lot of people who can be targeted as threats already from what they've
Yeah,
done, and Hunter's just there as a big physical threat. So if this is a
yeah,
cast that doesn't really care that much about physical threats, like there was season 42, you, every single vote that Jonathan was not immune, he should have been the target, but he wasn't because people didn't really care that he was winning so many challenges. They knew that he probably didn't. That everyone else was probably a better strategic
that
player and social player than him, so they kept him around.
yeah,
I
and
think
it's
it
like
could be the same thing.
I look at like this jury starting at Soda, and I do want to talk about Soda actually a little bit later on, but yeah, this jury gives me vibes like that they're going to appreciate the more strategic game, and they're going to be like,
Yeah,
oh, like Hunter gets to the end, he wins a lot of challenges, or whoever. Great, what else do you do?
right.
Like that's nice, that's cute. But what else happened? What else did you do? But actually, let me circle back. We talked about Kenzie a little bit. Do you think? Let me pull up the question. My from Ryan asked, do you see Kenzie as a villain? So I've heard this debate going on a little bit, and I wanted to get your thoughts.
Enzi as a villain.
I don't personally
That's
see it.
crazy.
Yeah,
If
okay, thank you.
anything, she's a hero or just a good game player.
I think she's a good game
I
player.
think the only
Don't get
time you could consider her maybe a villain is when she tried to make an alliance with Banu and Jess when she already had a good alliance with Q and Tiff going to try to play all sides. I think that was the only villainous thing, but that wasn't villainous. She was just like she made a small poor decision by talking to two people on
yeah,
the bottom and thinking they were going to work with her. And not thinking that they were not going to tell Q and Tiff about it. I don't think
yeah.
she's been villainous.
Neither do I. But I will say, in the new era, who really is a villain? Like, what is the modern villain? Who fits that bill? Because I don't think we don't have many of those.
The
And it's
villain
like,
is someone who is not willing to speak their mind or is going to get their way at all costs. Um, I
so
think
you're
there's
saying
two
Q.
people who would be villains in this season so far, a third possibly about to erupt. Um, I think there's um, Q. Um,
Yep, and
I
Venus.
think there's Venus, and I think Tevin will become one.
Ooh,
Those would be my
I
three
want to dive.
villains of the
Let me
season.
dive into Q and Venus seem obvious. How does Tevin become a villain?
I think he is going to be too consumed, less consumed with making it to the next round and more consumed with I need moves for my resume. And he's going to make big moves consistently and no matter if he's aligned with them or not, other than the fact that he'll never go after Hunter. But I think other than Hunter, I think he will target whoever he thinks will be a big move on his resume, and not even realize that making them move too it probably is too early and will put a target on your back. I think he'll be a threat. I think he'll be targeted. I think he'll try to defend himself, and like that
Hmm.
could also make him look like a villain. I think he's gonna next episode try to take credit for that soda blindside, and just I think that's gonna blow up in his face. Um, so I can see him being more of a villain. He's like yeah, I can see him being more of a
Hmm.
villain.
I gotta be honest. I see Tevin doing those things. Sure. Does he? Maybe. I I don't get villain vibes from Tevin.
I don't get villain vibes from anybody really on this cast, but
We're
like someone
vil-
you got to give some people
and
the
that's where I
the
think we're
villain
struggling with the
edit.
new era. Exactly. Like we're struggling. And that's where I think like my friend said he could see Kenzie as that a little bit. And I'm like, you're stretching it for sure.
That's a big stretch. Yeah.
What but at this point I kind of get it. Like at the beginning of the season when we had like that second episode with Jess, it's like that whole tribe almost felt a little villainous. Like it's like, all right, you're being a little skeevy, a little sneaky. I don't know if you need to do that. But yeah, then like, but nowadays, who really is a villain? It's so nice on
Yeah.
nice. So actually, that I did appreciate that like early on, like a little bit. Like obviously, I felt bad for Jess, but I was like, okay, there's a little bit of like tension. There's a little bit of, ooh, let me do something that's maybe not as nice, not as friendly. That's a bit more like cut, cutthroat. So
I can see actually maybe thinking she was a villain when she would say so many like bad things about Banu, like
yeah,
snapping at him and then saying like, "Oh, he's such a crybaby. Now I have to go apologize to him, or else he'll want to vote me out." Like boohoo. Like I think
yeah,
that was a little villainous, I guess. And but like Jeff Probst said, he doesn't want villains anymore. Will people get like a villainous edit? Maybe, but like he's
yeah,
not casting anyone who's going to outright be villainous.
yeah,
He's going to edit some people into being a cutthroat player,
yeah.
but
It, it,
that's I guess a cutthroat player is the closest thing to a villain
yeah,
in our
very
new
simply,
era.
he wants more properties. He does not want more Russells. Which I think
Mm,
we can all get behind.
yeah,
We,
I need some more Russells in here. I
I
Russell is one of my probably top 10 favorite players. Um, I in terms of how good he is, no, because he's a
uh,
terrible social player, but
then
he's
maybe a
got to
human being.
be
What?
the best strategic player I've ever seen in Survivor history.
Oh, we can go on a whole rant about how you're dead wrong.
Really,
No, but I will very simply say, listen, Russell has a strategic mind. Don't get me wrong, and like can like make moves. You can't be. I think he's a good player. You cannot be a great Survivor player at all and never have a shot to win. He never plays the game to win. That is my one argument I can say about Russell. And you cannot be a
100%.
great player.
I don't think he's a great player. I think he's a great strategic player, but that's one of like a ton of parts of the game. Like you need to be a good
Yeah.
social player, you need to like manage the jury, you need to not upset people.
Oh my
Um,
God. Yeah.
you need to not force people to do things.
He
Again, like uh, I
he's
just thought it
almost
was cool that he was able to convince people to do things, even though those people would say in confessionals, "I don't want to do this," and then he would get his way every single time.
You know what? Let me make an interesting comparison. I'm thinking a bit of Q right now.
A hundred
This is
percent,
what Q almost wants to be.
100%.
Whether he realizes it
He was a
or
better
not.
Russell.
I what?
He was a better Russell. He has a better social game than Russell, but is playing kind of similar-ish to Russell.
He is a better social game, but a worse strategic game.
He's got to be like his strategic confessionals are like amazing. Like it seems
Yeah,
like he's no for someone who actually I think I've heard that he doesn't watch too much Survivor. I think you've only watched like maybe five to 10 seasons of Survivor before coming on the show. But he seems like he has the game like down pat. Like the
Oh,
stuff
for
about
sure.
like threats and turning liabilities into assets, like and
Yeah.
like a bunch of other stuff that he's talked about. He definitely shows that he is a very good strategic player. Like this when he was like handling the whole fake idol situation with Jess, he did that really well. When he um like would like throw like when he would like tell Kenzie like like I want to quit so that she feels safe if they go to tribal again to not play the shot in the dark. Like he's thinking the right ways strategically,
Yeah.
but though he's not implementing his strategy in the right way for
Oh,
people to
not
be
one bit.
receptive to him.
Yeah, he's a very, very interesting guy. But I want to shift gears, if you don't mind, to another interesting person. Firstly,
Yep.
one of the people who went home, we've barely talked about. Can we talk about Soda and give her some flowers?
Yeah, let's talk about Soda.
Love her.
I
I love her.
I think sh I after episode two, I put her at a 0.0% chance of winning. I put her in the
Ooh.
same category as Q, someone who would rub people the wrong way and get people to want to target her earlier than if she, you know, didn't come off so strong. Like I feel like her and Q have strong personalities where they might think they're not like being super aggressive, but they actually are. And I guess that was kind of rubbing Tevin a little bit the wrong way. And that ended up resulting in Soda's blindside. I think that was one, and I said this even in the podcast that we talked about with when Soda was even brought up as a possibility, like in episode three or something, from Tevin. Um, Such a dumb move. Soda's number one ally in the game was Tevin, and Tevin was the one to blindside her. This early in the merge, you need as many close allies as you can get. Why would you keep around Venus, who you know everyone's going to be like we can dispose of, or would you want to keep in a threat who will be targeted before you but will never write your name down? Like she will be always a social threat. She would have been targeted before Tevin, I believe, if she stayed in the game, and she would not have ever targeted Tevin if she heard Tevin's name. She would have been like, okay, like we need to protect our alliance. Like I heard your name. Like what are we gonna do about it? And I just think keeping someone who's actively targeting you in the game in Venus and then taking out someone who is going to be a threat down the line but is your close ally right now, I thought that was so silly and it's going to come back to
Yeah.
bite Tevin really
Oh,
soon.
I think, and this to me is something you get when you have somebody who really hasn't gotten to play Survivor yet. He's been out there 2 weeks and basically hasn't gotten to do anything. And as the fan, I get it. I would be itching. I'm like, can I make a move? Can I like it's like what you dream of, like what you and I would want to go out there and make like have a big blindside, and I can imagine how hard it is, especially when you have this one. You have the chance. You're like, I can make a survivor move. I can have my name etched in history and say I made a blindside. Even if I go home tomorrow, I executed a blindside. That's really cool. It gets me points with the jury if I end up making it to the end. But boy, this was not the move to make. This is the spot where the really good player, or even the somewhat good player, takes it back and says, "You know what? Soda. I acknowledge my ally Soda is a threat, but right now there is a clear threat that I can send home that is probably never working with me in Venus. That you can take credit, you can still take credit for the move, but also lay in the background. It's a move you could have almost easily gotten Charlie and Maria on your side for, and yet is it a bit boring? Sure, but you have at that point. Who does he have? He has his number one in Soda. Liz is still with him, and Liz is with him, and also Liz is more loyal to him than she is to Soda, 100%, because Liz and Soda still can't get along.
Liz's number one is Tevin. Soda's
Yeah,
number
exactly.
one is Tevin. Hunter's number one is Tevin,
There you go.
and
And I can keep
Venus's number
going.
one target is Tevin. I mean,
Exactly.
it was
Oh,
like it was served on a silver platter.
and and you do that, Charlie's on your side too, because you fucking saved him.
Hmm.
Ugh, it
And
hurt.
Maria wanted didn't like right when she heard Tevin's name, immediately turned it down. So Maria wants to work with Tevin. Um, so like every pretty much everybody on that beach except for like Charlie, if if saved, would probably be open to working with Tevin, but it's not like a set like
Yeah.
alliance type thing. But Tevin thinks of Charlie as someone who's a loyal player. I think that's also going to get
Yeah.
Charlie very far. I think the reason he'll make it to the end is because people view him as a loyal number that they can use, but nobody will think of him as like a number one ally other than Maria and Ben. I think
Yeah.
Ben and Maria's number one allies are Charlie, so that works well for him
Is
in terms of Siga.
I'm really the Ben thing I'm not 100% sure on. I'm just because I'm really curious now where Ben goes. But that's a well separate. But
Ben will
as for
never
Soda,
turn on Siga, so where he goes
probably not.
is
Well,
he's going to be against Nami 100%.
likely,
Any Nami member.
likely, but I do think Ben needs to pivot.
He's going to pivot to Yanu. The
I'm
girls in Yanu.
probably, but I'm really, but I'm there's a chance I think Ben could just be a real wild card. But getting back to the whole Soda of it all for a minute,
Hmm.
Soda had moments of excellence, and she also had moments where I'm like my head against a wall of like, no, Soda, don't do that. Like I get you and Venus don't get along, y'all aren't best friends, and it's like, but even though they were still having those like little spats, they were still talking and still strategizing with her, which I'm like, okay, good on you. But then she also like the fact that you are kind of showing how good you are, that your best ally is concerned at final 10 because like you're not being like quote unquote readable or whatever. A little bit on her, and
Yeah,
it's where you're maybe years ago. I think that's a game that works years ago, and it's like I think of
absolutely.
the players who maybe up not to that level, but like a Kim Spradlin almost.
Yeah,
Really, really good socially. You really can't read what she's saying, but also here's the thing: and Kim knew who she was playing with and took advantage of the people she was playing with. So I feel like didn't really understand, okay, here are the caliber of players I'm playing with, and here's how each of them tick.
yeah,
Here's how they
yeah,
operate. Here's what I can expose. And it's like, I think you've almost got like, okay, Tevin's a bit more strategic. I've got to give him a little bit more. Venus is strategic, but it's like, all right, I got to probably just let Venus say whatever she wants. Liz is a bit more passive. I've got to maybe play the more passive game with Liz, and so on and so forth. That I don't think she did really well, but she is somebody. One, yeah, should not have gone home here, but also should not have put herself in any position to even be thought of to go home.
yeah.
Um,
She was, yeah, exactly. Like she's talking with a lot of people. She's trying to make a lot of people feel comfortable with her. Um, and yeah, I think it's like what you said. Her inability to be read is what hurt her because even her closest allies thought that she was going to be against them, um, which is obviously not good. But she kept we kept
it
seeing
is it.
clips of Soda going up to Tevin, going up to Hunter, saying like, "Hey, like you guys are my closest allies. Like I'm with you guys." Especially with Tevin constantly saying like, "See, we're always on the same page. Like we don't even need to talk. We know that we're gonna be on the same page. We're gonna be working together. We're gonna be tight." Um, like that kind of stuff. If I heard that, I would think, oh wow, so we're really tight. Like, let me not blindside her at the final 12. But I guess she just wasn't easy enough to read, and that scared Tevin. Like it was easy to read Venus, and nobody really wanted to work with her. So keep her in the game, take out Soda because he wanted to make a big move, didn't want to just take out Charlie and be the obvious, have it be an obvious vote. Um, so I guess I understood. a little bit about it, but like still too early um to take someone out who early on in the game will be a close ally of yours. For someone who
Exactly.
spent every day with you and has been in a quote unquote alliance with you since the first few days, how can you not trust that at the final 12? I don't know.
I don't either. But I will say, I'm so happy we got the scenario where Tim is not on the jury and she is, because I think her jury reactions are awesome.
Yeah, yeah. I think her jury reactions will be really good too.
Oh,
I think
it's
Tim would have
it,
been fun on the jury too, though.
he
I
would.
would.
I think Tim would have been fun, but I also feel like Tim's still a bit more subdued. Like if you're giving me the choice, give me Soda every day of the week and twice on Sunday.
Hmm. Yeah, I feel you on that.
And I think she and I'm. This is where I'm gonna be pissed. Again, we're not getting Ponderosa.
Yeah, I mean, I
Because
love
Soda as the
Ponderosa.
mayor of Ponderosa welcoming everybody. Oh, glorious.
Don't they
Like,
have,
could
but they're
Venus go
doing
next
like
and just the
videos they make, right?
that's so stupid. No,
But it's
that's not
it's it's
Ponderosa.
still so stupid. That's not real
No,
Ponderosa.
I want the real raw. You're at you just got voted out of Survivor. Here's how much weight you lost. Here you're gonna pig out on food, and mainly what I care about are your first interactions with everybody once they get there.
A
That's what
hundred
I that's
percent.
what I live for.
Especially after blindsides. Oh,
Oh
yeah.
my god.
Like if we got
I'm so
last season, like everybody coming in after Kelly.
oh my god.
Oh,
Can we get like if we had Ponderosa, my dream boot order, get me Venus out next.
Venus and
Just so
Tim.
I have to see them together, get Venus, and then probably give me like Liz or probably give me Maria after that. Oh, and
No,
then
no, no,
Q.
no. Give after Soda, give someone from the other tribe the so that Soda can vent to them about how pissed off she is at the people who voted her out, and then bring Venus, because then she'll be fired up. But like then she'll be fired up because she just
But
had
when
someone to talk to about it and gets really upset with about it.
but wouldn't the beautiful awkward thing be either A, Soda and Venus just basically not saying anything to each other, or B, somehow they become like best friends and it's I don't know.
If
I
it
just
is Soda and then Venus, then give me Tevin right after that.
oh
Oh my God, that would be priceless.
oh my god, that would be
And
good.
just have Venus and Tevin arguing over whose move it was to get Soda out, but then Soda's right there like, why are you
Wait,
guys trying to prove that you got me out? Like I'm pissed at
all right,
whoever got
okay,
me out.
all right. Let me add one more to this. Send Charlie thereafter, and he's just like, "What are these people doing?"
Charlie's just there, like, let me just enjoy my food.
Oh, I love this.
Charlie's like got the popcorn, like watching all this go down.
Yeah.
Or Liz.
Um, this cast for like all the shit we had at the beginning of the season, they're delivering.
Yeah, on the first episode recap podcast that we had, I said how I hated this cast, one of my least favorite casts I've ever watched, and after a few episodes, I one of my favorite casts.
And
One,
I think with
especially when Banu left.
yeah, I
Banu
think
was like one of
one
my favorite players episode one, and then he turned into like, please get this man off my screen.
I didn't even dislike Banu. I just thought like it was just an almost an unfortunate series of events where like
Yeah.
Banu has typically a one episode arc. Like, okay, maybe he's first one, he's gone episode two. Oh no, then Jess is there, and somehow Jess manages to screw things up worse than. And it's like, okay, Banu's gone next. Up, we have a medevac.
Mm.
Let's delay the proceedings even more, and we keep going. And then the game broke out, and I think one thing that puts this season overall at a disadvantage is just how good 45 was. Anytime you are in that, because I think for the fall, whatever season's airing in the fall, are you compared to the season beforehand a little like a little bit? Yes, but you're almost, at least to me, almost like a fresh entity because it's like, oh my god, Survivor is back.
Hmm.
Whatever airs in the spring, it is we have basically. I know there's a couple months in between, but basically, life just doesn't happen in January and February, especially if you're anywhere with freezing cold. Like nothing happens. So Survivor's back. We're like, awesome, but what are we doing? We are all in our heads comparing it immediately to what we just saw. And so when you have a season like 45, which I think you and I can both agree on was best of the new era. Am I correct in saying that? Or
Um,
one of the best, at
I
least.
would say I would say so. Like it
Okay.
was unfortunate that Reba just controlled everything, and that kind of made it annoying. But at the same time, I enjoyed the players. I there were some good blind sides. I it was probably other than Jam Jam, my other favorite winner of the new era, of a player that actually deserved to win.
Yeah.
I mean, I think I think
Okay.
I think Gabler deserved to win with the final tribal council scenario that he had. Any other final tribal council scenario, I think he loses no matter what. But
but but to make the point I'm making, 46 followed what many deemed was a very good to great season in 45. If I look at 44, I'll be honest, the expectations weren't very high. His 43 had its moments. By and large, I didn't love it. I didn't love the winner. I there wasn't a lot. I was like, eh. So I'm like, all right. And I don't want to say anything is better, but like the bar was lower. And 44 delivered. I thought 44 was a really good season.
yeah,
But it's just amazing how I think the placement of it affects it. Like 46, if it had come after 43, I think we're a little bit higher. But
yeah, I feel
this
you
is
on
the
that.
hand I got dealt, and I still think they're delivering. I do genuinely think they're delivering. But
Hmm.
I'm really curious how somebody who's binging this season ends up thinking of it once it's all said and done. Because we are
Yeah.
taking this week to week. I think this is one of those seasons where it is better on a binge. Like if one of my cousins I think is gonna end up binging this season because law school and other shit. But like,
Hmm.
I think I'm just gonna have to tell him like get like yeah, one is fun, right? Okay, 2 to 4, good luck. It is gonna be what like 2.5 hours roughly of not the best Survivor, maybe some of the worst. You get past that,
Yeah,
you are
just
in
get
for a
past
fun
Banu, and from there, it's
yeah, you are
a lot
in
of
for a
good
fun ride.
gameplay, a lot of good
Yeah,
characters,
and I thought
a
we've
lot
been
less
getting better
crime.
and better and better, and I'm looking forward to the end of the game. Like the fact that we've
So am
talked
I.
about like we've talked about okay, who we think is winning and who can make it to the end. But really, I feel like we've said almost anything can happen. It's like, yeah, we have a few that's like, all right, they're not winning,
So,
but they could go anywhere from final
how do
three
you
to home
think
next.
Liz fits in the boot order?
That's a good question. That's a really good question. Where does Liz fit in this boot order?
I have a prediction that I'm pretty confident in, but I don't know if we'll see if it happens or not. But what do you
Well, let
think?
me hear your prediction because I have a few different ideas where I think Liz could
Okay.
fall.
I think that Liz is going to be like a Lauren of 44, where she is not looked at as a threat from the audience perspective, but I think that late in the game, she's going to be looked at as a jury threat because there are the most Namis right now left in the game on the jury. So let's say Liz is one of the last two Namis or the last Nami left. She's going to have half the jury Nami. So I think the other tribes are going to think, oh, she already has half the votes if she makes it to the end because half the jury is Nami. She's a jury threat. We need to get her out. And I think she goes home at like final five, or something like that.
Half of what you said, I think I agree with. The second half of what you said about her potential, like potentially being like the last Nami and the jury of Namis and a very social threat, that I can see. Comparing her to Lauren, I think does Lauren a disservice.
Well, she was edited terribly.
I
And so
agree.
was Liz.
Lauren was edited terribly. I agree with you. And granted, maybe if I meet Liz in real life and I could see like the strategic side of her, and I mean she's a marketing strategist, so I'm guessing there's some strategy to her. But I guess going off what I'm seeing, I at least could say in some universe like with 44, I'm like, yeah, Lauren's not winning this game, but I could see a path. Like I see how she has a strategic mind. I can see how a little bit she might think something through, and I could kind of backwards like if I twist myself in enough knots, I could find a way where she maybe like does well. I think Liz has next to no shot, like zero. Like on the level of
But she doesn't deserve the money either. So
on the level of Q and Venus, I will put Liz there as well. no shot whatsoever. Um,
Yep.
because not only is she, yeah, she is social, but not with everybody. There are people that don't like her, and that's where I'm like,
Who, Soda?
so, yes, who is the first member of the jury? That
I
is
think
a
that's the
big
only
thing,
person.
but that's a big thing.
Mm.
Because to me, if you've already pissed off one person, it doesn't surprise me that
Well,
she
did
could piss
Liz
off.
piss off Soda, or does Liz just not like Soda, and it's only one way? Because we don't ever see Soda say, I don't like Liz. We just see Liz say, I've wanted Soda out since day one.
Do I think it? Here's the thing. I think it's more Liz disliking Soda than Soda disliking Liz. But I doubt. Maybe I'm wrong.
But Soda
I
probably
doubt
like
Soda.
understands.
Soda's not dumb, and I don't think Liz is very good at like hiding it. And Soda's probably like, yeah, this girl don't like me. I I don't know what I did to her. So and it just gives me the vibe of like Liz can maybe even inadvertently piss people off that I feel like Lauren never had.
Mhm.
Like, and maybe this is just having
Feeling
met
that, yeah.
Lauren like at the 44 Lauren is a gem of a human being.
Lauren is awesome.
Oh my God. Like
Yeah,
the
I've
one
gotten to
of the
meet her
ne
at one of the watch parties.
no,
She
right?
did one of the cameos for the trivia contest that we
It's
have on this podcast.
Isn't
Uh,
she like one of the nicest? Like you look at her as
so nice.
genuinely like I swear couldn't hurt a fly. And I think Liz probably is a nice person. I don't think Liz is that like, oh my God, she is an angel on earth and couldn't hurt a fly. We've already seen her hurt a fly of
Correct,
sorts.
correct.
So that's where I'm like, Liz has no shot whatsoever.
Uh-huh. I think, yeah, I think you're right. I think there's three
But
people
I'm,
right now for sure that have no shot, and that's Q, Liz, and Venus. I
but I,
think the other seven have a chance. I think some less than others, but I think I can see any of those seven winning.
what I would be curious is if Liz makes the final three. Because could I see it? Yes. Do I think it's likely? No.
I think
But if she,
there's gotta be a Liz or Venus zero vote
yes,
finalist,
Liz
right?
or
That would be
Venus,
crazy if both of them get voted out. Then like, can we finally get an interesting final tribal? I want an interesting final tribal. I want three threats in the end, and let's see who's the best player. I
yeah, we're
really
never
want
getting that.
that to happen so
We're never getting
badly.
that.
We're
I mean,
never gonna get it, but
the closest thing we had was 41 when they got rid of when Heather got put into fire when they lost Heather. And granted, the players have said Heather could have won the game. I mean, we saw nothing of the sort.
really?
A few of them have said, yeah, if Heather made it to the end, she's winning that game. That's a separate story. I don't know how. But that shows
Damn,
you
they
one how
must really have not liked Xander and Deshaun because I thought for the longest time that Xander or Deshaun were for sure winning, and then out of nowhere, Erica won. I was shocked.
yeah, I I don't know, but um, then again, that's what happens when you don't when you give. I would argue maybe Heather's gotten the worst edit of all time, just based on it being so non-existent.
Yeah.
But that I listen. I'm with you. If we don't have a Venus or Liz in the final three, I'm really curious who I guess takes that third place goat spot. But
Charlie,
also, but if we, but
maybe.
I'm also really curious if somebody's like, you know what? Let me try to get both of them to the end with me.
Imagine Venus, Liz, and someone. I would hate that final tribal, but
That would be the final three of chaos,
that would
and
be some.
whoever
It would be a chaotic final tribal, but an obvious like perfect game type scenario. No, well, it might not be a perfect game in terms of prior to final tribal, but I think they'll like sweep the jury, whoever is sitting next to them. Um, but in the
Yeah.
beginning of the episode,
Oh, we're
um,
going way back, huh?
we're going way back.
Way back
So
to 8 p.m.
Venus thought that Soda was the one who
Oh
just
my
voted.
God.
So
Ha-
Venus going up to Soda, and then not only that, but then Charlie telling Venus that he voted for her when she was convinced it was Soda. And then Q getting mad at Charlie, telling him how it was a
It's
stupid move, and like you can't let your emotions
literally.
get to him in this game. Like back to back to back, some terrible moves by different
Yeah,
players.
yeah. I have a question for you.
Yeah,
who in this episode played a good game? Honestly, because I could find an issue, I think, with everybody. Like, it seems like
Uh-huh. I think
everybody.
so. Yep. Let me
Who
think.
comes out? Who comes out of this episode looking better? Venus. Venus. No. I'm just gonna go backwards with this guy. Venus. No. Tiffany.
Yeah, I can
Maybe.
there's two people.
Maybe Tiff. Tevin, obviously not. Q, no. Maria, not really. Liz, no. I guess maybe Liz.
No. There's two
Liz,
people
no.
in my mind,
Kenzie
and it's Kenzie and Hunter.
and Hunter.
Hunter is now part of the Yanu Four.
Is he though?
As he well, he said in at like the tribal, like, hey,
Of
like,
course he
why don't
said
you
it.
adopt me? And as like
I
and I'll be part of Yanu. We can make it the Yanu Four instead of the Yanu
I
Three.
think that
I think that isn't necessarily going to happen, but I think that it's going to set him up well for the next couple of rounds. I do think Yanu will trust Hunter. I think Tiff and Q already have a close alliance with Hunter and Tevin, and I think Kenzie has now developed trust with Hunter from this
yeah.
move. So I think Hunter didn't make a mistake in this episode. I think he would have if he played the idol. I was literally screaming at my TV, begging him not to play the idol. Hunter, you're not going home. Please don't waste it. You're gonna need it. So happy he didn't play
True.
it. So and then just what he was saying at Tribal, like calling out exactly what it was. Siga is super tight. Nami is not. I will be a number for you guys. I have not had a chance to prove my loyalty to anyone because Tim called him out on that. Like, I plan on proving my loyalty to Yanu tonight. Everything he was saying, him not doing too much scrambling back at camp, trusting Yanu. I think he played this episode so well. Um, and I think Kenzie ultimately got what she wanted in getting Tim out instead of Ben. So I think those two. And Kenzie didn't seem like a threat in this in terms of she
Yeah.
didn't really
I
push the vote too hard, so it
yeah.
made Q look worse than Kenzie, and Kenzie looked like she was kind of like just flying under the radar, even though
Yeah.
she got what she wanted. She won immunity, so now
Yeah.
but she's not going to be looked at as a big threat because she won immunity because she's still the smallest one there.
Yeah.
So yeah,
What's amazing is if we're grasping at straws, we've named three people who didn't actively play this bad in some way, and there were 12 people in the game. Three-quarters of this cast screwed up something in this episode or come out in a worse spot than they were before. That is
yeah,
almost impressive.
yeah.
That is
Well,
like
not
kind
in a worse spot, but I feel
either
like
either you play
some
well,
minor screw up.
yeah, I would say either every person either made a bad move, ended up in a worse spot, or kind of both.
Yeah. So let's go through them.
Oy.
So from the Nami group, Tevin should not have blindsided Soda.
Tevin's was obvious. Venus is a
Venus is just
walking train
Venus,
wreck.
just
Uh,
everything.
yeah,
I'd say
walking
the
train wreck.
talking with Venus is like the talking with Maria, being
Oh,
way too aggressive about it. Um,
trying to get Tevin out
Trying to
of
get
nowhere.
Tevin out, not reading the room, realizing that Tevin is not going to be someone who can be easily targeted, but Soda is. She should have just went after Soda. Shouldn't have come so aggressive at Maria. Talking to Charlie.
Ugh.
Um, to
Yeah,
just like yeah, just the way
Venus is not
she was
good at
talking about
Survivor.
everyone. Yeah, so a
Yeah,
lot of things with Venus. To Tevin's the blind side.
Liz
Liz
kind of didn't.
at Tribal Council.
Oh, how do you not bring her back? How do you not bring her back to Tribal?
I didn't even bring my bag to Tribal.
Oh
I'm
my
staying Nami strong.
god,
Are you kidding me? That's ridiculous.
how?
How do you
I
not bring your
I'm
bag?
sorry. I'm sorry. There is never a scenario unless you have the necklace, and maybe even then, how do you not bring your bag? Even if you actually think there was no shot of you going home, and not even just the fact of like, okay, you could get blindsided. Do you know how bad? To me, if I'm playing with somebody and they don't bring their bag, I want them gone next. I wouldn't want to get rid of them tonight just for the comedy of it all. But I'd be
Yeah,
like, why do
exactly.
they feel?
Because
Why do
why are
they
they
feel
so
so good?
comfortable?
Why is she so comfortable? Oh my god.
You know what I just thought about? She is back at the regular camp, the merge camp. Um,
And half of them
and
couldn't.
and she left the bag there. So, and they were the second tribal. So what when the five people from the other group get back to camp, they're gonna see one bag there. And they're gonna be like, what bitch decided to keep their bag here thinking they were
Oh
that
my
comfortable? Like they're gonna be like, who
oh
had the audacity to leave their bag here? They're probably gonna like search through the bag to see who it was and be like, Liz. Like,
I
wow.
mean, I
Like
think
I
they just say
wonder
their
if that's
names on the
something.
side of it. I don't even have to search through it. But I listen. But if I'm those players and I know, can we search through Liz's bag? Does she have an idol or something? Like I'm checking.
Hmm.
Oh my
Yeah, no,
god.
nobody's stupid
Oh.
enough to leave it in their bag anymore. They usually put it in their like bra or their underwear or their
Yeah,
socks
you
or a
know,
shoe
but
or
but
something.
here's the thing. Liz feels like a special and not as a
Liz
person. Let me
would,
be
yeah.
clear. Was ever not as a person, but in this movie, she feels like a special kind of stupid. Oh my god.
But also,
How
Soda thought like she was supposed to be playing up the Nami strong thing, but actually was voting out Venus. She was certain that she was not going home. She still brought her bag though,
everyone
and
brings
she
their
got
bag that's not named
blindsided.
JT.
If Soda can get blindsided and think that she trusts all of her allies, so can Liz.
Oh my, what is it with? Oh my god. Good god.
Yeah. So
Oh
that was Liz. That was and then Soda because she got voted out. So that's pretty obvious.
yeah, it's like all
Um
right, Hunter. We've said we haven't found
uh
much that
well
went
who else
wrong
from
with
the
him.
other group? And oh it's
Uh,
just the Segas now. Maria
Maria wanted me
I don't think she should have like said that to Venus and been so like, hey, like the way you talk to me puts me off. Like I don't really want to work with
exactly.
you anymore. Like,
Yep.
why would you go up and say that to her? Why wouldn't you say like, hey, like I'm still thinking about what you said. Like I don't know if I want to do the Tevin thing, but maybe we can do something with Soda. Like say something like that rather than just be like, I don't like the way you talk to
And
me.
here's the thing: when you, to me, when you win immunity in that small group, you theoretically should have power, and you should almost be like dictating. Here's what I want to happen, and here's and like she almost said, making that analogy, which I love. Let me pull that up for a minute. She had like no agency in this.
Uh, I think
Not none, but
I think
like
she was on the bottom. There was only two Segas, so
yes, yes,
but
but
they still
when
had
I
power. They
she
still
still
could
had
decide, like
some
Venus
power,
or Soda.
but I, I just look at it and I'm like, does Maria come out in a better spot? For winning immunity, I almost think in that situation you should be coming out in a much better spot,
I think she
and she
absolutely
doesn't.
comes out in a better spot. Not
In a
much
better,
better, but
yeah, not much better.
I do think she's
Fair,
comes out
but
in a
like,
better spot because
but the fact that Venus is still in the game,
She was able to get Tim out without actually
well,
getting voting him out. So
yeah,
now, even though Tim was
but that's out
close
of
with
her control.
Maria,
That's out of her control. Although,
right,
frankly,
right,
I do think Tim could have been an ally for her, but fine. Compared to Ben, yes.
yeah, it would have been better if Ben got voted out, but for her. But the fact that the Sega numbers are going down, that helps her out because now Sika is going to be less of a target.
Mhm.
Because they were targeted because they're so close. But if they're, I mean, Yanu is just as close as Sega is now with three numbers. So
Yeah,
yeah, I
but
don't think it's just going to be like let's
but
target Sega. And
but if
then
but if I'm her, Venus should be going
why? Venus is going
because
to be
I think,
someone nobody wants to work with.
but
So,
she can't work with her. If I'm looking at the as Maria,
but
you have
Maria can't
almost
work with
no
Soda
shot.
either because Soda's going to be a big threat. Like
Here's the thing: Soda's going to be a big threat. I'm with you, and in the case where both of them theoretically are like big, loud targets, I want the person that I have a semblance of a shot. Like to me, there are not many universes where she works with either Soda or Venus. There aren't, but there are less of them where she works with Venus. Where Venus is kind of almost, I would say, who is more likely to target her, and I think it's Venus. So that's where I say get rid of
well,
Soda,
right,
get rid of
but
Venus.
you have to also think like if it's between like for example, I think this is a good move for Maria, but not for Tevin.
Of
For
course.
and it's like it's similar reasons, but the like Tevin, he was actually close with Soda, and he's not close with Venus. So it would make sense to vote out Venus knowing you're close with Soda. Maria has no tie to Soda whatsoever.
Yeah.
She has like Soda's alliance so far has just been with Nami, and it seems like she is closer with Charlie than Maria. And it seems like Ben is close with everybody. So it seems like
Yeah.
out of the Sega people, Maria was probably the person that Soda would least likely work with. Um, so I'm thinking
Yes.
like even so you want to have people in the game who other people want to target over you, and you also want um to have like at least half the like you want more than half the people to be on your side, but you also want people who you can be okay with voting out. And so Soda and Venus were not going to be people that Maria worked very closely with. So you want to take out the person who's more connected because
Yeah.
Venus is not connected. Soda was connected. So if you take Soda out, that you're taking out someone who probably wasn't going to work with you anyway, or maybe only work with you for like a vote or two, and you're keeping in the game someone who nobody likes and is easily dispensable. So I think it was the right move for her. But
That's fair. And again, I am grasping at Charles because like I've said before, I think Maria is a very good player, and I think Maria could definitely win this game. But if I'm looking at it as to me, what is her completely optimal, I guess I don't even say move, but just person that is in the game for her. I see more avenues where she has a chance with Soda versus with Venus where there are none. That's all.
okay,
But I get it
I
from the
100% see that. I think she had
keep,
a better
but I
chance
get
of working with
keeping,
Soda. Yeah,
but I also get keeping in the person who has no shot of winning. But it's almost to me, the difference is the devil you know versus the devil you don't. And Venus is so unpredictable. There's like to me almost no benefit of keeping her.
yeah,
Versus,
yeah. I guess you're right because that's something that I have many times on this podcast and in Real Survivor, whenever I play, I am 100% always, you should always get out the devil you know rather than the devil you don't. And everyone is always the other way around. Everyone's like, oh, like you want to keep in the devil you know because you know they're going to be a devil. Like if you know they're going to be a devil, vote them out. Like
yeah, exactly.
that's what I always preach. But for some reason, I guess now I'm finding out that there are sometimes a a loophole, and I think that's if the devil you know, if the devil you don't know is someone who's supposed to be in a tight alliance with you, then it's stupid. But if it's someone
Mhm.
who might possibly be in an alliance with you compared to someone who definitely won't, if you're still unsure about the other person, I understand voting them out if everyone is against them. So like everyone is
Yeah.
against Venus. Nobody wants to work with Venus, so that's why it would make sense to keep her in. But if people wanted to work with Venus and Venus was against Maria, then I would be like 100 times out of 100 times vote Venus
Yes.
out.
Yeah.
So,
Let me. One thing I loved about this whole tribal, besides the idiot not bringing her bag and all that stuff, is Maria painting the picture for Jeff, as she says. Like, let me tell you a story, which is something Jeff loves to do with all his analogies.
yeah,
She's like, imagine you're hosting a party. You get gussied up, which is a word I haven't heard in a while, but I appreciated it. Wear a
right.
red necklace, which I was like, is she like referencing the immunity necklace? I don't
Mhm.
know. And no one
100% she
shows up. And
is.
then and she changes it to like, oh, but they stayed a little bit, not too long. I found that so funny. I was like, this is where I love Maria.
Hmm. I like that
Oh,
too, yeah.
just Liz, I'm sorry you got gussied up, and I'm like,
Yeah, Liz.
oh great.
She's funny. Her like her one-liners are pretty funny.
Oh my god. Liz
So
is somebody I'm
yeah,
like, what does she know what show she's on sometimes?
yeah, exactly. Um, so getting back to what happened with the whole confronting of the votes and stuff, what were your thoughts on that? When Venus was like, "Oh, Soda, you 100% wrote my name down. There's no other option." What do you think about that? And then what do you think about Charlie telling Venus it was me? And then what do you think about Q getting mad at Charlie for saying
Idiocy, idiocy, idiocy.
that?
My god, what are these people doing? None of this makes any sense. The only
Yeah.
thing that you can maybe a little bit get behind is Q telling Charlie that was a bad move because it was. But like, God, do none of these people have any like tact to them?
The way
And
I think
uh,
telling Charlie that is fine, but though he was
the way he
so
did,
pissed, the way he said it, like he
oh
could have
my,
just been like, "Hey Charlie, like you can't do that. Like next
n-
time you
n-
probably
n-
shouldn't do that. It'll help the
not
game."
that.
Like
I'll be honest,
he
even
was
even that
yelling
would
at
be a
him.
bit too. Even that might be a bit too strong. So the fact that
Well
where
then,
Q
well
went,
then, well then, telling him at all is probably stupid altogether.
it's like maybe asking question. Like I would be phrasing it as a question.
Like, hey,
Like why would
why'd you tell Venus this?
yeah, like what were you thinking there? As I think Charlie is a person where you like he is younger than Q by a little bit, but like he's not a dumb guy. So I'd want to be like, what were you thinking there? And maybe be like, all right, here's like where I'm coming from. Maybe I wouldn't have done that. I think, but I also think he's smart enough to be aware that okay, that was not the best idea.
Mhm.
Um, and that's where I'm most disappointed. I am the most disappointed in Charlie for that by far. Because Venus, I
Well,
have no expectations
it
for.
was it was teed
And
up. The ball was teed up. It was
oh,
ready for a
you
homer,
you what it
and he
was?
screwed it.
Yeah, for I don't know. You mentioned yeah, maybe I'm thinking baseball, but like Charlie had to do nothing. All he had to do was stand there. The pitch is 300 feet outside. Don't swing. Don't do anything. You're good. And Charlie's like, swing and swings it like a fishing pole over his head. And I'm like, oh god. It's like the
That's
kid who
such a
has no idea.
great analogy.
What
Yes.
are you doing, Charlie? I love you. But like his brain just shut off for a minute, and I get it. You're on day 13. You haven't had much to eat. Granted, you've been winning, but still. Oh my god.
Hmm.
I want to know. Here's the thing: does he know? Was he gone when like Venus is starting to accuse Soda? Like where is the
No, no,
benefit from him?
I don't think so. I
He
think
had to have been. He had to have been there for that. So
it was
he.
his conscience. He was like, "Oh, like
Oh my.
I need to be honest. Like I can't lie. Like I that's why I think he'll be if he makes it to the end, he'll get second place.
Oh my God.
I don't
Like
think he'll be able
that.
to make the necessary moves late in the game to win the game. I think
I mean,
yeah.
he wasn't even asked. Did you vote for me? Because
Yeah.
if it's that, then maybe a little bit I get it. Like okay, kind of pressure. There was no chance it was you. In any universe, there's no chance. You then have Venus and Soda butting heads, and more than likely, and granted, one of them did go home, but if I'm seeing that, oh, Venus is Soda butting heads, I'm keeping them both in as long as humanly possible and letting them go at each other.
Hmm.
And he's just like, oh my God, Charlie.
Yeah. So
Oh,
that was a
I
mess
love
up
him,
by
but that was
Charlie. I don't
that might
think
be the
it's
worst
really
episode.
gonna come back and bite him that hard, luckily, because Venus is just hated by everyone and nobody's gonna be
But
like, oh, let's vote out Charlie. Also,
but
Charlie
but
was served up on a silver platter for Venus in this episode, and Venus still didn't want to go for him. So Venus is all over the place. So I don't think this is
I
actually going to backfire as much as we thought it would, but
I don't
still,
know if it'll backfire, but that doesn't mean it wasn't a terrible move. Just
right.
because you kind of, I'm gonna say, get lucky, because you kind of got lucky here, and are playing with idiots maybe bigger than yourself. That move was so bad. Like
100%.
almost. I feel like there's so many bad moves in Survivor where we can at least say, okay, this person's thinking was very flawed, but here was the benefit they were going for. There isn't any for Charlie.
Well, I guess
None.
if you had to pick one benefit, it would show that you're honest, but that's about it.
But nobody was thinking he wasn't. That's the thing. Is
Yeah,
anybody saying,
exactly.
huh, Charlie seems like he's hiding something? No, not for a second.
Hmm.
Like, if you have to prove, oh my God, there's no
Yeah, it's
benefit there.
definitely not the best move by
Oh my.
Charlie, but
And
it's
like,
okay.
I
It didn't
get,
end up really
even if you,
ending
listen,
up
I think
doing
that's
anything.
a move where you almost don't have to tell anybody, not even your allies. If you're going to tell somebody, maybe tell your allies. Not the person you voted for, who you have to know is vindictive. Seeing the way she's going after Soda for what ended up being a meaningless vote with no tact whatsoever. I don't even know. I don't even know.
Yeah.
My
But
God.
we did a lot of talking about the different players, the tribals, the strategy, something we
Are
haven't
we?
talked about yet, which even though there was so much strategy in this episode, probably my favorite part of the entire episode, the
Ooh,
immunity challenge. It
this.
was probably one of the most entertaining, like low key immunity challenges I've ever seen on Survivor. It was hilarious, joke after joke after joke. Jeff said it was his favorite immunity challenge to be at by far in the new era, and I 100% agree. It was the balancing on the triangle
Yes.
platform in the water challenge. It's finally back. I love that challenge. Um, it's a classic. I'm glad they bring it back, but not all the time. So like every few seasons, I think the last time we saw it, they showed us was 42. So I think 4 seasons is a perfect
Yes.
amount of time. Um,
Yeah.
and
Yep.
yeah, that's one of my favorite ones. They separate into two random tribes, both go to tribal. Last one standing wins reward for their tribe, and their tribe gets to make the jury. The other tribe does not, the person getting voted out does not. And I think it's funny how they pretended to be shocked at the twist when it was so obvious because there were two colored mats and then there were different colored platforms.
Yeah. Here's the thing, and the only reason I can maybe understand it a little bit is because they didn't see 45, so they were maybe thinking, oh, this is a little bit later. But I think the minute you see that, you're like, either here's what the two possibilities in my mind
Well,
are.
it's happened, I think, in like every single
But it's happened
new
later every
era one.
season. It's happened later.
Right.
It was at 10 and 41, 42, and 43. Um, so my only other thinking could be this is a reward challenge, but I would also be like, this does not feel like the minute they show the necklace, I'm like, oh fuck, we're splitting. But
Yeah.
a couple things here, and first, got to give flowers to I've ripped production enough tonight, but where it's due. I love this challenge. It went well. I'm happy it's back. Like you said, every few seasons we're mixing things up a little. The other thing, why does every statement that Jeff or anybody says about like the best this that has to be in the new era? Why are we forgetting that the first 40 seasons of Survivor happened?
Yeah, right?
And it's like those were like you had some all timers there. It's like, listen, I get you want to focus anywhere, but like let's acknowledge the past more than just the one challenge
I
where
know.
it's like
I
order the
wish they,
seasons
yeah,
based on it.
exactly. I wish they acknowledged the past a little bit more.
But
Um,
not every statement needs to be quantified within the new era. Because sure, the bar is lower, things like, but fine, we don't need to. But what I liked about this challenge is that we didn't get 3 minutes and it's done because the tide is heavy.
right, right,
And I
exactly.
and what's funny is one of my old roommates like never I could never get him into Survivor fully, but like when I would watch it, he would like maybe casually sit down with me, and I'm like, "Oh, you kind of like this?" No, I don't like it. Maybe a little bit. But every time there was a challenge like this, he'd be like, "Why are they just doing nothing?" And then a lot of challenges where not
I
a lot
like those
happens.
kinds of
But
challenges.
this, I like them sometimes. But when there are things happening like this, I love it. This was
Hmm.
so much fun from start to finish.
The
It just
alphabet
was
game.
the alphabet game.
Q getting mad at everyone for not following the rules was so
I
funny.
I
Hunter and
literally
him tried to explain it to them.
uh,
Charlie
Charlie.
purposefully getting it wrong was
What's funny?
hilarious.
What's so funny is I think it's a mix of yeah, purposely playing this game badly to upset Key, which is great, but also what your brain is like 14 days on Survivor. 14 days balancing on that thing, like I would be like, what are we doing?
No, I think he was like just purposely trying
Oh,
to mess
well,
with
I
them.
know, I know Charlie was in that moment, but I'm also like, where would my mind? Like I think a little bit of like the whole Liz thing. I think it's a bit of like you have both ends of the spectrum of
Yeah,
the
exactly.
I don't want to mess with Q, but also what are we doing?
Ben
Yeah,
being
Jeff's
like, Q's just making up the rules.
yeah. We have a quote from Jeff. In honor of Jelensky, you've been up here several minutes, which means seven.
Yes, I loved bringing it back to Jelinski, and then Q was like,
That
"Oh, like we'll honor his name, we'll or whatever he said."
okay. Here's something for me that I noticed about this challenge. Like, you know how they start on like the little footholds and then
Hmm.
go to the top of the balance beam? Maybe it's me. I feel like the top when you can have both feet on there is easier. I don't know why. For me, I feel like it would
No
be easier
way, no
because
way.
those footholds look tiny.
Well, they are, but at least you can like balance your body like evenly on the platform rather than like kind of like surfing in a way, like having like a it's like a it's kind of like having your legs stretched out gives you better ability to stay centered than if your
That's
legs are
fair.
so close together.
That's that is fair. I grant you that. But I think maybe it's just for me. I could like if I just am like that, I'd almost have to like I have to be stuck like a statue. I can't bend my knee. I can't do anything. At least for me, I'd be so nervous of like if I twitch, I'm out.
Hmm.
Versus if I'm up on that beam and I don't know if what they're allowed to do. I would literally be standing sideways as if I am surfing. It's like because a
You
lot
can
of them
do
like
that. You can do
they'd
that,
put
but
their feet like straight together. They all did this. And I'm wondering if that's a production thing of like, okay, you cannot stand to the side. You actually have to stand one foot in front of the other.
no, I don't
Because
think
has
it
anybody
is
done it
because
like has
I remember when they did this in Cagayan and they were Wu and Tony were like surfing pretty much.
were they? Oh my oh
Yeah.
god. What a fun season.
Yeah, that
Yeah,
was a
that
good
I think
season.
that would be my strategy then. I don't know.
Hmm.
Obviously putting him on one foot, no shot I'd be out. The whole thing
Oh,
seems
I'd be
so
out right
different.
away if I had to go on one foot. I
Oh
can't
my
do
god.
that.
I don't
Like
think
I'll make it far
listen,
in the in the balancing challenges. Like there's one challenge that I did in an LRG that was you had to like balance a ball
a plate and
on a
walk
plate
it.
pretty much. Yeah. And
Oh my
like
god.
I could do that for hours, but
Oh, I teach me your skills.
once they said like put one foot up, I was out like really
Steven, I
quick.
need you to teach me your skills because like I had that challenge in the only allergy I ever played, and I thought it was like I will do whatever I can to not do that. I thought I told my tribe, I'm like, I can do a lot of things. I will be so
Well, that
useless.
it was
I will
individual immunity, so you kind of had to.
Oh, I had yeah, no, ours was like our first tribal immunity, and that was part of it, was like take the balance the golf ball and go up a hill. Like go walk on three balance beams, walk up a hill, and I'm like, nope,
Yeah, I wouldn't be
nope.
doing
I
that
was
for
like,
my
guys, good
tribe.
luck. You do that, good luck. And thank God I didn't do it because we won the challenge. But yeah, this challenge is one of the more interesting ones because it's they're in enough of a position where they can talk and like at least like when they're on. And I think that's what made this so much fun is give me a if you're having a challenge, people are saying there is an element of okay, I want to see them maybe like suffer a little bit, maybe in feeling they can last, but but I want them to be able to talk. Like the I don't know what we call it, the one where they're about the last gasp. That
Yeah,
challenge I think is fun, but there's a level of like nobody's talking,
that's all
so
right. I
nothing is
mean,
really
most
happening.
challenges people don't talk. It's I for
But we have
last
Christian
gasp,
with the
that
Reuben
is such a
sandwich.
great challenge that I'm okay with them not talking.
I'm okay with that, but I'm saying I'm okay with that as like maybe the rarity. You know what I mean? I
Yeah,
want
yeah,
more that are like this, where they're out there and can at least at the beginning can maybe have a little bit of fun, can
yeah.
say things.
I understand that.
Like we got
I
that,
understand.
like when we got Christian with the Reuben sandwich for 6 hours, that was awesome. Um, but
That was
let me
great.
tell you what, but the whole thing of this twist of splitting them up into groups, I am a big proponent overall of giving players control of the game that they're playing. I always say that I want them to be in control. I would have loved, and I really want them to say, you guys divide yourselves, figure it out. Maybe make it a schoolyard pick. I don't care how you do it.
100%. That is if they're gonna do this
Pick it.
twist, because and that's what I like to do in my Survivor game that I host. Whenever I do a like final 10, if I'm gonna split you up 5 and 5, it's almost always a schoolyard pick because that's the fairest way to do it. Because then you have
No,
some strategy behind it. Do you pick someone to be in your group that you want out, or do you pick someone in your group who you want as an ally?
yeah, I don't even care about the fairness aspect because, like, whatever, Survivor's not fair. But it's just so much more fun to give these players decisions.
Yeah.
Make them do like every time there's a journey and they're like, we're gonna draw rocks. No, I would literally would be like saying from production, you can't do that.
Yeah,
I
like
don't care
I
what you
enjoy the
do,
journeys
pick.
more when you get to like actually talk about like what you're gonna do.
Yeah, no, I need to like there are a few things I would be doing if like I ever got the dream job of like being a EP survivor. My first maybe my well, I would say that. My first move is outlawing Edge of Extinction forever. Second is getting rid of fire at 4. My third move is literally saying you can't do anything randomly.
You don't like fire? You're one of those people?
I don't like forcing it at 4.
I love forcing it at 4.
Oh god, I'm losing respect for you. Um, I
Because
I just
because
I
it gives the biggest threat a chance to make it to the end when they would obviously be voted out at the final four.
let me tell you something. One, what it does is it makes the Final Four immunity challenge go from something amazing to something worthless or next to worthless. Like I remember the seasons where I'm begging, like watching that Final Four immunity, whatever the challenge is, hoping and praying that like whoever I want to win wins, especially if I know that they're going home. But also the really good players, the like excellent survivor players, could lose that challenge and still make it. And it's because it's the essence of this game of Survivor. The best player isn't always going to win. I don't like, oh, all right, we're gonna play the Survivor. You know, Survivor vote. Especially if we don't have an idol. If you can play an idol at 5, I want one round of pure Survivor. So that's my separate point. But regardless, with this
Yeah.
thing, make it. I don't even know if I want to do a schoolyard pick because like we've done that, been there, done that. But like, make it something where
Not
they have
that
to pick.
often though. It's a lot more rock draws than schoolyard picks.
Yeah,
So I like
yeah. But I'm saying like
introducing a schoolyard pick again would
if we were
be
to replace it, like I don't know, I'd want to do schoolyard pick sometimes, but I'd also want some other way. I don't know how yet. So if somebody tells me, that'd be great. Of a way
mhm.
of letting them make the decisions, but not um, but making it random. I don't know. Like,
I think what you said would be a good one. Like no schoolyard pick, just like, hey guys, you have like
ooh,
10 minutes to divide up
actually, I
into
wouldn't even
two
say that. You
groups.
what I think I might do actually, right there, right then and there. I'd
What?
literally be like, get out, swim, pick a platform,
Ooh.
go. I don't care
Oh, I
how you
like
do it,
that.
however
Yeah,
you
just
end
be
up,
like
figure it out.
these platforms, wherever platform you are on,
Whoever
that
gets to it first claims it. It's theirs. Unless
yeah,
you want to trade,
whichever
it's
six people get to a platform first is going to be a tribe, and then the other everyone who's not on the platform in the first six will end up
no,
being
not
the
even
one.
saying that. No, not even saying that. Like, and frankly, I would obviously it's maybe right the way it was set up is a bit unfair that like one of the colors was farther than the other. But I'd almost like see if I can have it where like they're if you're on the platform, you can jump and make it to whichever you want like pretty easily, and just telling them figure it out. If you want to go all the way to the end to be on purple, great. I don't know, or maybe I'm
Yeah,
splitting
but
them
like
up
it
like
also lets you like strategize with your allies, be like, hey, like you and me need to go to the orange mat so that we're together. And then
or like say like we're going to separate ones.
or
But
like yeah, or let's
I'm
go to
literally
separate
saying to them,
ones.
but I'm saying, and like frankly, I'm saying that, hey, you are dividing up. You're literally when I say go, jump in the water, or really do whatever you want. But but you all need to claim a spot.
Mhm.
However you do it, I don't care. And I think it would be really interesting to see some people who jump immediately and others who are like, wait, let's talk this through. Uh, I I just came up with the best idea for Survivor ever.
I love it.
I am
All
so
right,
proud
Jeff
of that
Probst,
one.
if you're watching, let's make this happen for
Jeff, I will
Survivor
give you this idea
47.
for free. Come on. I love you. This how much fun would this be? Watch them just be like, because it would take a minute. If I'm there, I'm like, wait, what the hell did he just say? And then maybe it is random, like, oh god. But I'm like, oh god, what do I do? And in a matter of second, oh, great,
Yeah,
I've
that
solved
would
it.
be
I've
good.
solved Survivor. Oh my
So
god.
getting
But
back to the challenge,
um,
so many funny
the
things. Tim
oh
saying
my
"What's up,
god,
Jeff?" is the black people's
yeah.
way of asking what the time is, and then after like a little bit of time went by, was just tried it out again, and then Jeff told him the
the
time.
amount of Hugh saying I can't talk when I'm not in a fight, and then Jeff is like, no, what helps with this challenge is distraction. And Tim shouts out every family member of every person, and Q is like saying explaining things, and Tim's like, shut up.
Yeah, he was like, your daddy said if you ain't in the fight, shut up.
And Q's like, yeah, you're right. Which that's like the only time I've ever heard Q admit he's wrong. Which
Uh-huh, uh-huh.
it gives me such honestly, one of the big joys in life for me is getting somebody who is stubborn. Listen, my father being one of them, admitting they're wrong or admitting someone else right. It's like, oh, wait, what?
Yeah.
You're not right. You're admitting you're wrong. Hallelujah.
And the way this it was going in this challenge, it made it seem like Tim and Q were a lot closer than I had seen. And then immediately after them having so much like fun comments back and forth at the challenge with each other, Q wanted to vote out Tim. Like literally like 10 minutes later.
Yeah, I
Like
think it was
it I don't know. I thought that was a little
more of like I don't
crazy.
know if it was like them being like friends or maybe just like shared experiences and like in that moment like could relate to each other. Be like, yeah, I get you. I don't like it, or it's like I don't want to say don't like, but like I don't want to work with you, but
But I
I
like you
understand.
exactly. That happens a lot with me too. Like there's someone like I'll vibe with, but like I just can't trust them. So I like on a game relationship, I won't work with them. But
Yeah,
like when we're not talking about game, like they're so much fun to hang out with. It's like
exactly. Or like someone, yeah,
I
and
feel like
obviously
that's 100% Q
it
and Tim. Like if they're not in the game, they have
and
a
it's a
close
separate.
bond, but they know they
And
can't work with you.
yeah, maybe they do, maybe they even don't. But I think it's just a separate thing. You and I, as two white guys, can't really understand like the whole race element of this whole thing.
Right, right,
That
right.
they just get each
Yeah,
other
because
in
they're
that
like
way, even if
bonding
it's
over like the stuff that black people say and whatnot.
exactly,
Um,
exactly.
yeah.
Um,
So Kenzie and
but
Maria win immunity.
uh,
Good for them.
I think we were talking. One thing I noticed earlier when we were talking about like all the people we think could win, the women of this season are just awesome.
Yeah.
Oh my god, everyone except Liz, I think, is like awesome.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
no offense to Liz, she's fine, but like Maria's kicking ass. Kenzie's kicking ass. Like the two of them winning that challenge. Tiffany was very close to winning. Even Venus is a firecracker in her own way. It's like they're they're bringing it.
Yeah.
And I love Maria being like, the only thing missing is a hug from Jeff, and she gets her hug from Jeff. That is adorable.
I like that too. Yeah. And um this is the first time I think in the last 3 seasons that everyone brought their bag.
Well, here's the thing. I think, and I've heard conflicting reports depending on people from each season.
Hmm.
Nowadays, I think, or they used to. I remember Chrissy talking about they used to tell the players before every challenge, bring your bag, bring your bag, and your immunity necklace or whatever. Now I don't think they say that.
Okay.
They don't say like bring your bag to everything. But I think a
Gotcha.
lot of these
So
players,
that makes sense why it didn't really happen on 44 or 45. But also I
yeah,
wonder, I think Matt's boot might have been the last episode they saw before coming out, possibly.
didn't
Um,
know. I thought they saw the whole season.
or did they see the whole season? Oh, it
45,
was
I don't think saw the
45.
whole
It was
Yeah.
45. They the last season, the last episode of 44 that they saw
Yeah.
was the episode before what happened with Matt.
Okay.
So that's
Here's
why they still
yes.
didn't bring their stuff. Um,
Yeah. So
but
I put
then this time around they
I
finally did.
pulled up the tweet from Chrissy, and this is from November 8th of last year. So it was, I believe, right after 45 had that incident. And she's like, handler slash production say the same thing before leaving for every challenge. Shirt, shoes, bag, buff, every time. I went and I think I then heard a reply that like nowadays they don't say that. They say like shirt, shoes, like buff or whatever. They don't remind you to bring your bag.
Hmm.
So but
Okay.
lesson to anybody playing Survivor, or if you or I are ever fortunate, bring the damn bag
Hmm.
everywhere.
Oh yeah,
Bring the
absolutely.
bag, bring your idol everywhere.
I also thought with the Nami Siga group that went to tribal, I liked Tevin giving tribal lines a shout out,
Oh
saying that
yeah.
he doesn't know if people are necessarily willing to let down the tribal lines right now. So thank you,
Yes.
Tevin, for shouting out the podcast. I appreciate it. We all
It,
appreciate it here at Tribal Lines.
ab- absolutely. This is I will say this is the only place where it's good to discuss tribal lines. Everywhere else, whenever they say it in the game, I'm like, shut up.
Uh-huh. Yeah,
Like I love
exactly.
Jeff even Jeff was even trying to get them to stop doing it, and they're like, nope. And I'm like, Jeff, this is your fault.
This is
This is what
100%
happens
Jeff's fault.
when
Absolutely.
when one tribe when you set it up where A, you have one really weak tribe and they continue to lose, and the other two tribes have had to do nothing. Understandably, they're kumbaya because they haven't had to play Survivor yet. If I haven't had to play Survivor with people and I've just bonded with them for 2 weeks, which you live with anybody for 2 weeks, and you either love or hate them by the end of it,
Mhm.
and you've lived with people and you happen to get along with them, why would you want to get rid of them?
So I have a
You need a
question
vote to get ahead
regarding
of the game.
the Tevin move.
Yes.
I do think it is Tevin's move, but what do you think? Because Tevin, I feel like, was the one who constructed it, but he voted for Venus. So if you don't vote in the majority, can you still take credit for the move? What do you think?
Oh, of course. If you did it as a plan, if you plan to vote in the minority, and yeah, you absolutely can take credit for it. It's a matter of when do
I
you
think
want to
so
take
too,
credit for them.
yeah.
Because frankly, I think you can, if he's trying, like if I'm Tevin, I almost don't want credit for that move. I don't want credit for moves right now.
Yeah, well,
I want,
yeah,
I want,
if
I want
if you
plausible
were
deniability of what
yeah, if you were
happened.
like someone like us, we wouldn't want to take credit for the moves until Final Tribal.
No, no,
But
not even that, not even that. Even maybe a bit earlier, but like definitely not at Final 10.
yeah, yeah, exactly. But I think he wouldn't have taken credit for it, but seeing Venus take credit, I think will anger him and he's gonna want to take credit.
Oh
Um,
my god,
but
saying
yeah,
Venus take credit.
him voting for Venus was so smart, honestly, because I mean, Soda was so blindsided, so she was never going to play her shot in the dark. But if she got wind that she was going home and played her shot in the dark and it hit, if Venus voted for Tevin, Tevin goes home on a 1-0 vote.
Oh,
So,
100. It makes sense for that reason, and then also just the plausible deniability reason.
mhm. Yeah, and also
And you
yeah,
also have to
I
prep.
guess
You
you can
prep for the
kind
shot
of
in the
like
dark.
act
You
like,
prep for
oh,
the
I was
idol.
with you the whole time, Soda.
Yeah, exactly. Which I think more so works better, not even for the jury, because I don't think Soda's the type of person who cares, but I think it works better if you go back to camp and you can act like you're a little bit you're shell shocked. Because then, if I'm looking at the Nami tribe, Tevin doesn't seem to know what's going on. I'll keep Tevin. I'll maybe drag Tevin into work with me, and then that pins more of a target on Hunter or whoever you want to throw it at. Probably I would say probably Hunter though.
Yeah.
So it's like Tevin, in a way. Listen, I don't think he made the right move, like at all. Like obviously, we don't think he made the right move, but he kind of did the right things. In as it's like you made the wrong decision, but the way you made the wrong decision, you at least did the things right, so it's less of a wrong decision. But you're also not like doing it because of those reasons.
hmm
It's like
Um,
it's like you screwed up. You did the completely wrong thing. You did it if you had meant to do that, you did it the way you should have done it. Oh, but you're not even taking credit for that way. Oh, great.
right, right, right.
It's like he's asking to not get any credit for anything he's done.
What do you think about Q saying he jumped off on purpose to see if his alliance would turn on him?
Oh, thank you. Thank you. You got I completely forgot that. Idiocy again. How many times? Oh my god. If that is actually again, this is maybe another okay. I understand maybe not wanting to win a physical challenge that early, especially with a guy who looks like Q, who could probably beat me and beat you and beat most of us to a pulp in a second. He is that strong. My, come on, Q. Either, either A, you are delusional and trying to sell yourself and the audience that is why you did it, or you're just a complete idiot. Like I don't get it at all.
I
Like
think
frankly,
his reasoning in his confessional was stupid, but I
oh
think the
my god,
play to throw the challenge was smart.
exactly. Like if you're going to throw, but also I'm not throwing. I don't know if I'm throwing it that early, but
He
yeah, fine.
is he's in a 6-person tribe with him and two Yanu members who are so
Yes,
tight and would no way turn on each other this
yes.
early in the game. I
Oh, I
think
agree.
that no reason for you, because if he won immunity, he would have just proved to everyone that he's a strong physical competitor
Exactly.
and been a target right away. So it's smart that he threw it, but whenever he says like he throws challenges or like whatever, or like says that he wants to quit or that he wants to go home to see if his alliance would turn on him, it's just silly. Like, why are you trying to get them to turn on you?
S-
Like, just trust them.
So, so silly.
Because that can backfire on you. What if they actually are trying to get you out? Then
No,
you
there's
just
no
screwed
benefit.
yourself.
There's no benefit. If you're ever making a move in Survivor saying this is a test, if you don't have
Yeah,
immunity, it's a bad move to test anything.
100%, 100%.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
I don't, and this is where he's thinking like he's king or something, and it's like, oh no 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 no. You don't make that move, especially not there. And on a six-person tribe, yes. Listen, I get not wanting to win it because you're the majority, the three-person majority, six-person tribe. But I will say, to counter, even to make play devil's advocate for the throwing argument, that is where the most random shit can happen. Like if Kenzie and Tiff are making a move, I make it there. I don't. It's like, oh, I can make the move when there are three other people I have to deal with, and not like six or seven or eight. Yeah, let's do it. Um, but the other thing I will say, and what I would be really curious if Q did not have both Kenzie and Tiff with him, if he had one of them, or even if he was on his own, does he do the same thing? And I worry that his
no
answer is
way.
yes. Here's the thing:
I think his answer might be, yeah, I would say it's
it might be yes,
50-50.
and it's even more idiotic if it is.
100%.
Like if he had said, "I threw this challenge," like what you're saying, because I have two allies and I need to get my threat level down, or at least not increase it. I can. I I don't love it, but fine. I get where you're coming from, and it's potentially a good move. This is just like this is another. What are you doing?
Yeah. And
Like I didn't think we could have so many. This might be a record for number of bad moves in an episode.
yeah. Yeah,
Oh my
honestly,
God.
definitely a lot of
You
slip ups by a lot of
you
people.
picked a good episode to have me on where I can just rant about how stupid everyone is because I
I
love
love
doing
it.
it.
I
Oh
love it.
my
I love
God.
it. Let's
Like
talk
if we were
about another
doing like
stupid
my little
player. You want to talk about another stupid player? Tim.
ooh, I wonder who you're picking.
Tim,
I mean, I don't really want
hit
to talk about Tim. We can.
really quick. Um, what'd you
I'm
think
kidding. Go
of
ahead.
his move to immediately tell Q, I want to vote out Hunter, but he's in the six. It's like, but he's Nami. He's like, but he's in our alliance. It's like, but he's Nami. It's like, so you're 100% playing the Sega game. You're not playing our alliance. You're not going to be loyal to our alliance. Why do I think you're going to be loyal to me? That's what Q was thinking. It was the right way for Q to think. Tim shouldn't have been so hell bent on Hunter. What do you think about
If you're
all
gonna
that?
if you're gonna throw his name out, I can maybe understand it. But this is about you've got to know how to read people.
Exactly.
The minute you get pushback, fake it. Okay, yeah, you're right. You're
If you
right.
get
You're
pushback
you're
from
right
the
about
people that
that.
you
And
need to vote with you, then you're going to be the
exactly.
vote because if you only want one thing to happen, um, and that person doesn't want to do it,
And
then
you're not in the
you
power
are not going to
position.
be in an alliance with them anymore. I feel like that could have happened with Q too. I know that Tiffany and Kenzie were like okay doing whatever, worst case scenario, but if like Kenzie and Tiffany were like we're voting Ben no matter what, and then Q constantly would refuse and refuse, that I definitely see them turning on Q. Maybe not this round, but next round. Um, and I think so. It's good that that didn't happen to Q, but it did happen to Tim, and Tim wasn't as close to Q as let's say Q was to Kenzie and Tiffany. So not only did it blow up Tim's game for the future, it blew up Tim's game that same round, and he went home. So
It
yeah,
not
definitely
a great one.
not smart from
Not
Tim.
not great to put it mildly.
Yeah.
Just like
Okay. Well, we definitely
but he was the
talked a
sexiest
lot
dad to ever
about
play the
this
game.
episode. I'm glad that we really dove into it. We dove into a lot of Survivor related topics as well, which was great. Um,
It's been 2 hours has flown by with you, my friend.
yes, it has been
If
awesome.
you can
So
even believe it's been two
let's
hours.
talk about the scenes for the next episode, our Survivor picks, and then we'll wrap this thing up.
Yeah.
So
Any
scenes from the
final
next
words you want to talk about with
episode.
Tim or Soda before we do that?
What?
Hey, do you want to talk about final words before we get into the
Oh
next
yeah, yeah, yeah.
episode?
Let me know
Because
your
Tim's was
thoughts on Tim
interesting.
and Soda's final words.
Yes. I'll be honest. Soda I didn't have much for, like, sweet, whatever. Tim's. Tim's kind of set me off a little.
Oh
As he went
really?
into
How
the
come?
well, actually, before, let me go back one more thing. When he gets voted out, and Ben has that little brotherly love song, and also, ugh, I want to be friends with Ben. Can I just say that?
Yes,
Like Ben
yes.
seems like a guy who's almost polar opposite to me in a lot of ways. I want to just hang out with him, give him a hug, and be his friend.
Yeah,
Um,
that was the same way with me and Pat and Jake from last season. We were like, I
that's
want to
fair.
get a drink with Jake, and you're like, you want to get a drink with Ben.
Yeah, yeah, and there's a few other people I could say that about, but like Ben is just that I don't know. Ben like has that odd like it doesn't make sense for me, but yeah. And I will say, having gotten to meet Jake in person, he's delightful. Get a drink with him if you ever can.
Oh,
Um,
that's awesome.
but the whole brotherly love song was awesome, and then Tim's final words. He says, "I technically lost, but I was a leader, not a loser, and I'm the sexiest dad to ever do it." Every time a player listen, and let me be clear. I get it. Be grateful for the experience. I would kill to be on the show. I would love to be on it. I would feel like I won by getting there. But if you in your final words at any point, because you obviously didn't win if you're giving final words, unless your name is Chris Underwood. If you say if you somehow in some way say I didn't lose, I'm losing my mind out at you. You lost the game. You're not a winner. You didn't win.
He
Oh, I'm a
literally
leader.
lost. He got voted out,
Tim, your
saying he's
game
not a loser.
stunk. Tim's
And
game
he's saying he's a
stunk.
leader too. What did he lead?
Nothing. He let his game down the toilet. That's what he let his game down. And it's like I even gave David Wright that the grief when he did it in Moyles versus Giants. And David played a damn good game too and almost won. And listen, his had a life journey that's awesome. But do not tell me in your final say in your final words that you're grateful you played Survivor, that like you played a better game than you thought you did. Whatever. But don't tell me you won. You didn't. You fail. If your goal was to win, which everyone's goal should be, you failed at that ultimate goal. Is it a
Yeah.
bad thing to fail at it? No, most people do. But don't, especially Tim. I'm sorry, you didn't even make jury, buddy.
Yeah.
And I can't really pinpoint anything like any real good moves he made. Like, ugh, no, no, Tim, you were
He
great.
didn't really
I'm
make any
happy.
good moves this entire game,
I'm
unfortunately.
happy he was there. I'm glad he had a fun experience. But come on, buddy.
Yeah.
Come on, buddy. What are we doing here?
And then Soda, she was just nice. She was like, she's grateful that she got to play. Now she gets to vote for a winner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's understand. That's fine. I get that.
Yeah.
Good for you.
Um,
And the Soul Soda Venus thing at the end was actually kind of adorable.
oh yeah. It was, but it was also like kind of cringy.
Oh yeah, no, it was both.
Yeah.
Oh my god. The like, wow, it was you, wasn't it? And I'm like,
Yeah, it's like, no, it wasn't. She was just trying to get the vote off her. She did not
and,
mastermind this plan.
and there's another point. Like I said with Charlie earlier, now that if everything seems to come revolve around Venus, which I love because apparently maybe in her own world she thinks that, but it is here. Um, where Tevin needs to take this and shut up and be like, great. They don't think it's me. I will shut up. And probably the next minute, Tevin's like, I did that. I did that. And like, no, 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 you didn't.
Well, I guess the thing with that, which I can kind of understand, but at the same time, you don't want to make yourself too big of a threat, is if you get to the end with everyone thinking you didn't make moves, and then you're like at the end, like, oh, that was actually my move, that was actually my move, everyone's gonna be like, are you really? Like, I was certain that it was someone else's move. Like, you're probably just saying shit out of your ass, and like it wasn't actually your move. Like, it's kind of like good to not have every move known, but have people still knowing that some of the big moves were you, so that you can
Here's
get
the
credit at the end. Because if they think you're making everything up, that's gonna be even worse for
yeah.
you.
There is a balancing act that has to be drawn with that. But here's the thing. A lot of these players in general have very short-term memories. Like anytime a player makes a move in the pre-merge or really pre-jury, or in this case, like we're basically at pre-jury, nobody remembers it unless it is the greatest move on the planet. Nobody's ever like at Final Trap. If you're bringing
Yeah,
up pre-merge moves, you probably didn't play that great a game post-merge when it really counted. When you were with all these people,
100%.
and this vote, half the people weren't even there for it. This is the tribal I want no credit
That
whatsoever.
is a
I
great point. That's a great point. That's a really good point.
I want no credit now. One, it's fun. One, we still have 10 people in the game. Two, half the people weren't even there to see it. No, I did nothing. I did nothing. At the end, then you can claim it. It's, oh, let me add. What you want me doing is adding to the list that people already have in their head. If you're
Mhm.
creating the list, that's a problem. But if you're adding to it and be like, oh yeah, that thing, and Venus likely is either on the jury or and maybe admits it or not, even if she's not and you're there with her, you're like, no, this is how it happened.
Well, Venus probably
And
thinks she did mastermind it.
yeah, Venus would think that, but like if you can at least have an argument, you can make that argument. I think. I don't think it's
Yeah,
that hard to do.
I think if Liz get ends up on the jury and Tevin makes it to the end, then Liz will be the biggest supporter of saying like, hey,
Exactly.
like Tevin did make this move, and Tevin also
Yeah.
made this move, and Tevin made this move. Um,
100%.
yeah. Okay, so scenes from the next episode. We
Yes.
got everyone yelling at for Hunter, and he's hiding up in a tree. If I
It's
had to
called the spy nest.
yeah, right. I was like, oh my God, the spy nest is back. But no, I think they're trying to make this seem like he's spying on people, but I think they're probably just playing some game of hide and seek or something. That's what my
Yeah.
prediction is, but I don't know.
I I want to disagree with you, but I can't really.
Yeah.
I think that's the case as well. Um, but I've seen a lot of hubbub about what next tribal is. I really hope every time these shows, like any of these iterations of Survivor, say like next week's tribal is like one of the greatest or like something has never happened before, I am prepared to be let down. There are very few instances where that is told to me and it delivers. So
Yeah.
I'm going in skeptical, but I'm hopeful. It's like we see a minute
Yeah,
of like
but Jeff
Soda
does
shocked
say,
face.
yeah. Jeff is like, I've never seen anything like this before. I feel like what's going to happen is Q is going to get into a fight at Tribal with whoever was trying to target him.
Ooh.
That's what I think. I
But I
think
feel like
that's what
we've seen people bicker at tribal before, so I'm like,
Uh,
what?
yeah,
Not to that level, but
but I
like
don't know. I think Jeff is going to exaggerate. I think there is going to be a fight,
Jeff is
but
going to exaggerate. No, 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 no.
no, Jeff,
No,
exaggerating?
no,
No,
Jeff would
never.
never.
Yeah, I think it's something we've seen before, but probably not in a while because there haven't been any fights at Tribal really in the new era. I don't think at all. Maybe like one Tribal. So I guess I
Yeah.
understand. Oh, I've never seen anything like this before. If there actually is a fight that breaks out, and Q says in the scenes from the next episode that he's a mob boss and that someone broke his rules.
Oh God, I that I'm
So
already like,
that is just already not looking good for him.
yeah.
I
So
think,
Q's going home
and it was a
probably.
girl. A girl broke his rules. So do you think that's
Kenzie,
Tiffany and Kenzie?
Kenzie broke it.
Yeah,
I don't know why. I just Kenzie broke the rule probably. What the rule is, nobody knows.
I don't know. We'll find out what his rules are. Apparently,
What?
that no everyone must follow, or else they will be voted out.
Yeah.
Um,
What
and
rule
then
did somebody
Charlie says
dare?
the game is getting crazy, which makes me think. Originally, I thought Ben was going to be the boot of this upcoming episode until seeing this,
Okay.
and then now I don't think it's going to be Ben anymore because Charlie saying to Maria, "This game is getting crazy." It just seems like a conversation they're having where they're trying to decide which way they're going to go. It seems like
Hmm.
Maria and Charlie are yet again going to be in this swing vote position where they like are deciding what happens. Um, so I think it's going to be either Anami or Yanu going home. I think I could see it being either maybe Q, Tevin, or whichever girl broke Q's rules.
Whichever girl broke Q's. I love that that's where we're just like, who dare broke Q's rules?
Who
Whatever.
dares to break Q's rules?
What are the rules we still don't know?
Well, I'm excited to find out next episode. So, Survivor pool picks. Still 13 people out of the original 19 remain after episode 7. Alex is actually one of those 13. Along with
I
me, we are
am.
still left in the survivor pool. So
Oh
he
my
was one of
gosh, I still
those.
can't believe it.
Yep. Alex, you have chosen so far Randon, Charlie, Tiffany, Mariah, Liz, and Q. So that
So
means that,
hey, that's worked out pretty well for me. It sounds like I've gotten two people
yeah,
who've
you
gone
got
home
two
and
people have
and a
gone
third.
home.
And I think
So
if Q goes home next, then I have three.
So that, yeah, if Q goes home next, then you have three. So that leaves you with six people you can choose for this episode.
Oh
You have
man.
Ben, Hunter,
Um,
Kenzie, Maria, Tevin, and Venus.
hold on. Ben, Hunter, Kenzie, Tevin, Venus, right?
And Maria. So
Ooh.
out of those six, who are you picking for episode 8 to
Oh, you
not
want me?
go home?
Wow, this I was not expecting. Man. Do you have a pick while I think about it for a sec?
I do, yeah. So I'll let you
Ooh.
think about
Who,
it.
who are you left with?
I have chosen so far Banu, Q, Kenzie, Hunter, Venus, and Charlie.
Okay. So you have
Okay.
you have
So
five
I
people left.
have to choose from Ben, Liz, Maria, Kevin, and Tiffany.
Okay.
Um,
Who are you
I
going?
don't think Ben is going home next episode anymore because I think for some reason Charlie and Maria will be in a swing vote position. So I'm gonna save Ben and hope that he can make it to at least final 8, and maybe I can use him next time. Um, Liz, I think, is going to at least final 5. So I'm going to keep Liz. Maria,
Yep.
I think, is going around the final 6. So I'll keep her in for a little bit longer. Tiffany has an idol, so I want to save her for a little longer. She also doesn't seem to be too big of a threat right now that people would want to target her right now.
Hmm.
Um, so by default, I'm going to go for Tevin. I think Tevin has a very small chance of possibly going home next episode, but I do think he will be going home in the next 3 or 4 votes. Um, I
Yep.
don't. I would be if, especially if he talks about um, how he was the one who masterminded So does Blindside, and if he gets power hungry, I can see him being a threat that people want to get out in the next few rounds. So if he can survive this final 10 vote, which I think he can, um, I think he'll be a, a boot very soon. So it's smart to get Tevin out of the way now. I also have only picked one person who's gone home, so I kind of need to be a little bit risky if want any chance to win the survivor pool. So Tevin seems like the
Yeah.
riskiest pick right now, so I'll go with Tevin.
Interesting. So how many episodes do we have left until the finale? Because the finale is on the 22nd, correct?
Yes.
So that gives us one,
So we
two, three,
have,
four,
yeah.
five. We have 5 episodes before the finale.
Okay.
Interesting. So I'm with you. So I literally we have one, two, three, four. We have 6 episodes left
Yeah.
of which is actually crazy to think about. I have 6 people left.
You got 6 people. You can choose Ben, Hunter, Kenzie, Maria, Tevin, or Venus.
Yeah, okay.
Who are you
So I'm gonna
going with?
play the game. I've been playing a game like you have a process of elimination. And let's see. First, Venus is going to the end of the game probably, so I'm gonna save her.
Okay.
Originally was saving her as my winner pick like an episode or two and realized that was not going to be the case, but fine. You keep her for that reason. Kenzie and Maria, I think both can go far and actually win the game, so I'm going to get rid of the two of them, and that leaves me with the guys:
Mm-hmm.
Ben, Hunter, and Tevin. I, my next move is to get rid of Hunter because I want Hunter as the idol,
Mm-hmm.
and I think Hunter could make it a couple more rounds. So if I get rid of him, I'm down to Ben and Tevin. And honestly, I want to disagree with you and go with Ben because I do think I don't know how long Ben is for this game either.
Yeah, he's a wild card. I think he can go home at any round. I think he's
He
always going to be a
can.
threat. It's all about, is there a bigger threat that people want out, or will he eventually be the one to go home? I can see him making the end. I can see him being out next episode. Anything can happen.
It really. and that's where I'm wrestling between the two of them because Tevin has an extra vote still
Yeah, he
that
does.
I did forget about, but Survivor Wiki reminded me.
I that's why I think he's gonna use it this episode, this next
I do
episode.
too. And that's almost where I'm like, then he might be safe. Oh, man.
That's why I think he'll be safe, but I think he'll paint a target on his back for the next few rounds.
Well, here's the thing. I don't want to say I'm certain, but I could really see Q going home next. I really can
Me
see it.
too,
And
me
I'm like,
too. I
what?
think that's the most
But I'm
likely
wondering
thing.
who's on the other side of that. If it's not Q, who is it?
Yeah, I don't know.
Man. Oh God, I was not thinking
I would
about
think it
doing
would
this.
be Tevin or Ben is my guess.
Ugh, I agree with you.
Or
Um,
Hunter, and then Hunter plays an idol.
yeah. You know what? Give me Ben. Give me Ben. One, so I can
Okay.
disagree with you because that's a little bit fun, and
hmm
also,
I always do that too. Like Pat chose Mariah one time in the pre-merge, and I was gonna choose Mariah, but I was like, you know what? Let me choose something else.
well, you got to make this fun for everybody. So give me Ben. I love him. So this was if I lose on Ben, I'm gonna be really upset. Not because I didn't pick Tevin or whatever, just because I'm gonna be bummed that he's out of the game. And but if I go down on the Ben ship, I can live with it.
Yep, that's what I did with Charlie last week. I chose Charlie because like just in case if Charlie goes home, I'm happy to go home rooting for Charlie.
I also think I believe in Ben. I think Ben's able to survive a round.
hmm I
So
think
we'll
so
see.
too.
Yep. All right. Wow. And now you don't have to hunt me down Wednesday night and text me. So,
Yeah, exactly, exactly. All
but you
right,
can text me
well,
anyway because I
Alex,
enjoy
thank
working
you
with you.
so much for joining me on this podcast.
Yes.
You did a
Thank you
great
for having
job
me.
replacing Pat.
It's an honor. It's an honor to fill in the big shoes of good old Pat Johnson. But I tried my best.
Yeah, yeah, it was a lot of fun. Thank you for coming on, and hopefully we see you again guest hosting in the future.
You let me know whenever you want me on, and I will be here.
Okay,
Simple as that.
awesome,
So,
awesome. All right, well,
all right.
any last words that you'd like to say before we hop off?
Just thank you so much for having me. This season is turning a corner for the better, and I'm really excited to see where it takes us next.
So am I.
And don't
Yeah,
forget
this
to
is
follow Q's rules.
Yep, yep, cool. Q's rules. I'm excited to find out what they are, who broke them, and what goes down at Tribal next episode. It's definitely going to be a great season. We have a lot of great players, a lot of great personalities. I enjoy this cast, and I think this season's going to produce a great winner, and can't wait to see who it is.
I completely agree with you there. We're gonna have a fun final 6 weeks of this.
Oh yeah, definitely. All
Awesome.
right. Well, thank you all for watching. I know this was a long podcast, but I hope we gave you a lot of great Survivor knowledge and great discussion about the episode and our views on all the players. And we will see you guys for the episode 8 recap. All right. See you guys.
Bye.